What's up? Ghost Fictions is here, and we're back again. This is a story where Issei was betrayed, lost his sacred gear, and went for revenge. This story takes place after season 4 in high school DxD. What if was Issei betrayed by his friends because he was useless? How would his life be? Would he be able to live a normal life or look for vengeance? Would he find peace in his heart? But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more informations. Now, let's get into the story. After a few months after the festival in Cow Academy, Issei was with his friends hunting a stray devil. Issei was in his balance breaker. Issei launched himself to the devil as Riaz and the rest of the peerage backing him up. Issei was about to shoot dragon shot. Then suddenly the stray had a trick in his sleeves. The stray devil took out like a revolver and shoot Issei in his chest, which was the green core. But Issei was able to kill him before his balance breaker shattered. Everyone yelled his name. Issei. Issei started to fall in the air, then Riaz rushed to catch him before he hit the ground. Riaz landed on the ground holding Issei crying. The rest came at him sad seeing their friend hurt. Issei was deeply wounded. Asia started to use twilight healing. It was able to help, but he was unconscious. They took Issei to a hospital in the underworld to treat his wounds. Issei was in coma for a week. Riaz wouldn't leave Issei alone, sometimes she wouldn't eat or drink. As soon as Issei woke up, Riaz immediately started hugging him. Riaz spoke crying. Issei. We thought we lost you. You were in coma for a week. Next time don't leave me worried to death. Issei spoke trying to regain his strength. Yeah, I promise. Thank you. Riaz pulled Issei for a kiss, then Riaz peerage came in rushing to hug Issei. Issei was glad was to be alive and have friends on his side. But all that will change upside down. After a few days Issei was ready to train. For the upcoming raiding game. Issei felt there was a missing presence. Issei was going to duel with Kiba. Issei called out his gear. Boosted gear. Issei noticed that his gear wouldn't come out. As everyone watched in silence shocked. Boosted gear. Issei called out again. Then again nothing happened. Issei looked at his left hand terrified. Issei spoke with fear. Drake. There were no response from Drake. Issei started to fear the worst. Issei asks. What happened to Drake? Riaz and her friends were utterly shocked to see Issei in despair. They decided to talk to Azazel since he is into sacred gears. Azazel asks Issei. What brought you here, Issei? Issei looks at Azazel with a worried expression and replied. I want to know what happened to Drake. He wouldn't come out when I called out for him. Azazel pats Issei's shoulder and spoke. Don't worry, we'll find out. After Azazel was done checking on Issei, Azazel was now in disbelief what happened to Drake. Riaz asked Azazel. What is it? Azazel looks at the ground and his expression was in shock. Everyone was now worried about Drake, including Issei. What I'm about to tell you is hard to take in. Drake is no longer with Issei. Azazel spoke. Issei dropped to his knees in tears that he lost his partner. Everyone else was in tears. Even Kaneko had small tears in her eyes. Riaz spoke. What now? Is Drake alive? Azazel with bit of hope. Mostly likely Drake is alive, but is no longer with Issei. Issei couldn't stop crying that Drake left him. Riaz put her hand on Issei's shoulder. Riaz spoke. Even without Drake you still can get stronger. Issei hugged Riaz for comfort and spoke. Thank you, Riaz. Then rest of his friends joined the hug to comfort Issei. After couple of weeks Issei was training hard, but he wouldn't get stronger no matter how hard he tried. Riaz started to lose hope on Issei, including his friends. Issei still missed Drake's company. Issei couldn't help but feel the weakest devil in existence. One day Issei was called to the occult research club after school was over. Issei hoped there is a good news. Issei knocked the door and heard Riaz's voice. Come in. Issei entered the room and saw everyone in the room. Issei saw Sona and her peerage. There was the 4 devil kings. What caught his eye was a new guy between them. The new guy was white hair that his hair was backwards. He was wearing black shirt with a leather jacket on, also wearing black jean. His eyes were blue and his body was chiseled. He is kinda guy that every girl would want in a man. Issei asked. What's going on? Issei noticed that everyone's faces was a disappointment. Riaz decided to speak as she stand up from her chair. Issei, you are no longer part of my family. Issei's face turned into disbelief and asked. Why I'm not part of your family? Why? I found someone with a sacred gear. Kevin have the boosted gear, I invited him to our peerage which he accepted. Issei was in state of shock that Drake is still alive, especially it has another host. Then a red gauntlet appears on Kevin's left hand. Drake spoke. Hey Issei. Sorry partner, I can't return once I'm gone, as much I wish is not possible. As he said bit of sadness. Issei was more sad that Drake wanted to be his partner, though he was the weakest host and a pervert. Riaz spoke. You'll be banished entering this club or enter the underworld. If you try talking to me you'll be dead. As she said with cold words. Issei couldn't believe that Ria's love of his life is throwing him away. Issei spoke. Rias. Shut up. I don't need you anymore. You are useless. What everyone think the Gremory clan have the weakest devil. You will tarnish our name. You no longer have sacred gear. As her crimson aura flare in anger. Issei looks around if anyone would defend him, but saw everyone was giving him a glare look, even Asia who was considered a little sister to him. His heart shattered that everyone turned on him. Rias approached Issei and placed her hand in front of Issei's chest, that a magic circle appeared. It started retrieving the 8 pawn pieces. Rias spoke coldly. You should be grateful that you are alive, if not I would kill myself. Now you are back to human, I'll erase your memories the day you died. Issei was now far from repair. Rias cast a spell that lost his memories. Rias placed the 8 pawn pieces to Kevin, which he became a devil. Then Rias kissed Kevin. The next day Issei woke up in his house, but his home was back to normal before it was remodeled. Issei spoke as he was getting up from his bed. What happened? Was it a dream? It felt so real. Issei changed clothes to his uniform for school. He placed his hand in one of his pockets and felt an object. Issei pulled out the object and saw a green orb. As he looked at the green orb, suddenly he felt a headache. Issei holds his head and he started to see memories flowing him back. The day he died and the night he was kicked out. Issei was now filled with anger and hatred. Issei wanted revenge, but he was a human. Issei spoke to himself. At least I have something from Drake. Rias, I loved you, now this is the way you treated me. I shouldn't saved you from Riser. You'll pay, I swear. You thought you can erase my memories. Issei took the green orb and made into a necklace as a reminder he was a former Red Dragon Emperor and placed it on his neck. Issei head off to school thinking how should he act. Issei was walking to Cow Academy. Issei was approached by the pervert duos. The bald friend spoke. What up man, I brought some magazines, wanna look? As he took out a magazine. Issei responded with a grin. Sure, why not? As he grabbed the magazine and placed in his bag pretending to be a pervert. Issei felt an aura that went past him. Issei saw it was Rias, Akeno and Kevin. Many guys and girls were fan of them. Then Rias looks at Issei, which Issei pretend not to know her. Rias grins thinking how make Issei life miserable. But shocked Rias, she sensed small hint of power in him. Like part of him is still a supernatural. Issei entered to his classroom showing no expression of happiness like he used to. Many of his classmates began to wonder what changed him. Issei would look out of the window like he always do, but face anger and hatred. Then the teacher came in after the bell ring. The teacher spoke clearly its throat. Ahem. Today we have a transfer student. Please come in. As the teacher looked at the door. Issei looks and saw it was Kevin, the new Dragon Emperor. Issei tried to maintain his face straight. Kevin spoke. Hey, I'm Kevin. Hope you take care of me. Then he bowed his head. Many guys were jealous that Kevin is a pretty boy. As the girls squeal in happiness that Kevin is in their class. Then a minute later Issei saw Asia, Irina and Zenobia entered the classroom. They pretended not to know Issei. Kevin sat in front of Issei, then Kevin turns around to Issei and spoke. Hey there, my name is Kevin. What's yours? As he stretched his hand to Issei. Issei wanted to ignore but decided to play along, and he spoke. My name is Issei, nice meeting you. As he shook Kevin's hand. Kevin spoke. So I heard things about you. Issei sighed and spoke, wanting to be left alone. Yeah, everyone knows that I'm a pervert. What are you into it? Kevin shook his head sideways and responded. No man, I'm not into that stuff. Kevin spoke to Drake. Hey Drake, don't you mind I kill Issei? Drake immediately speaks. No, don't kill him. Though he was my former host. We had best time together as best friends. I plead you to leave him alone. Kevin turns around to his desk and the class continued. When lunch came, Issei was eating alone looking at his phone. He noticed he doesn't have any of his former friends' numbers. Issei spoke grinning. I see how it is. I guess I have to make new friends first. I need to erase my past history as a pervert since we are close to winter break. I should hit the gym and practice martial arts since I'm human. Issei's pervert friends came at him and spoke. Hey Issei, how about we peek the girls after lunch? The pervert with glasses. Issei responded. Sorry guys, but I decided to change. I'll no longer be a pervert, instead be a normal person. How am I get a normal school life without getting hated? I promise to stay friends with you. His friends were shocked to hear his response. They knew that something was off, but they didn't question it. When their school break came, Issei and his friends were chatting in the hallway about what they going to do in winter break. Then Rias walked by Issei, pretend to be focused on his friends. Rias was shocked to see Issei didn't notice her. Rias started up a plan to see if Issei does notice her. After school, Issei was bit asleep on his desk. Then he woken up by Kiba. Issei spoke, rubbing his eyes. Can I help you? Kiba responded. Come with me right now. Issei gets up and followed Kiba to a cult research club. Issei knew it hasn't changed. Kiba knocked on the door, which heard Ria's voice. Come in. Then Kiba entered, speaking. I brought him as you asked. As Issei walked behind him, Ria spoke to Issei. Please sit down. Issei sat down on a couch, pretended to awed by the club. Issei spoke. This place gives me goosebumps. Mind telling why I'm here? Ria's responded. Well, I brought you for redemption. Though you don't remember it. Issei asked. Redemption? What that means? Who are you, by the way? Ria's grins and responds. Would like to join our club? Issei stood there for a moment and responded. No, thank you, I have plans after school. Issei noticed that Ria's was a bit frustrated and spoke. Let me remind a bit. Ria's raised her hand and cast a spell on Issei to remember a small piece. Issei already have the memories. Issei spoke. What was that? Ria's asked. Do you remember now? Hoping to hear Issei he does. Issei asked. Remember what? You're weird. Kiba was about to take his sword, but Akeno stops him. Issei got up and spoke. Okay, I'm out of here. I don't know who you are, but have nice day. Issei left the building, going straight home. Ria's was now mad that Issei doesn't remember her. Ria spoke to Kaneko. Hey, follow Issei and report me after. Kaneko nodded and left a spy on Issei. As Issei walked back, he noticed an item on the sidewalk. Issei decided to approach it and saw a broken gauntlet. It was covered in rust. Issei spoke. Was it mine? Issei picked up the broken gauntlet. Then looked his necklace. Issei grinned that he have something to work on. Issei put the gauntlet in his bag and ran back home. Kaneko saw Issei with a broken gauntlet, but Kaneko doesn't know if Issei knows what the gauntlet is used for. Issei went to his room and began to take out the gauntlet. Issei began to examine it. Issei placed in his hand which it perfectly, but it had pieces missing. Kaneko watched Issei playing with the gauntlet. Kaneko called Rias. Kaneko spoke. I got information about Issei. Rias spoke. Tell me. Well, I saw Issei pick up a gauntlet, he doesn't know what is it. Now he playing with it. The gauntlet is broken, also is rusted. Rias started laughing and spoke. Let him be the hero, plus, he's human after all. Kaneko spoke. Right, returning back to base. Issei knew that in the garage there are scraps of metals. Issei went to the garage with the gauntlet, began to look for scraps of metals. Issei found metals and began to examine if they are good conditions to use. After the metals are good conditions, Issei started to do research about welding. Luckily the major parts of gauntlet are good conditions. The next day Issei was borrowing a book from the library about welding. Issei was so focused on welding he lost time to eat or pay attention in class. Kevin saw it suspicious because Issei never took like about welding. Kevin decided to contact Rias about Issei. Rias spoke to Kevin. Really, Kevin? Issei can never make a sacred gear. Plus it need artificial dragon soul. You know, for Azazel it took years to create a sacred gear. Kevin couldn't help but cautious of Issei's attitude. When the weekend came, Issei stayed home, started working on the broken gauntlet. From the dawn to midnight he worked on the gauntlet. For 2 days he was able to fix the gauntlet, but took a lot energy to fix it. Issei was very tired and sleepy. Issei decided to try something. Issei placed the gauntlet in his hand and took out his necklace and took the green orb. Issei carefully placed the orb into the gauntlet. Out of nowhere a red flash appeared on the gauntlet, blinding Issei for a moment. Issei looks at the gauntlet that was now red like before when he had drag. Issei couldn't help but let out a sinister laughter. Issei spoke. Haha. Finally. I was able to create a sacred gear. Just you wait, Rias. Issei decided to test its powers. Though he was tired he went to the woods. After 30 minutes reaching the woods, Issei raises his hand which the gear speaks in command. Boost. Issei spoke. Is like a replica of boosted gear. How about balance breaker? Then Issei was covered by red aura which transformed its balance breaker. It spoke. Balance breaker. Issei was odd, he was like drag armor. Issei noticed he was a replica of the Red Dragon Emperor. Issei transformed back to his human form. Issei decided to go back home while he made his gear disappear in his hand. Issei fell asleep in his bed smiling. The Cult Research Club. Heaven was surrounded by the girls that were in the club. Heaven spoke smiling. One at a time, girls. Rias was the first one to get kiss Kevin, then it came Akeno followed by Asia, Kaneko, Zenobia, and Arena. As they were having their fun time. As Kevin the harem king he was experiencing the best moments of his life. Kevin decided to ask Rias. Rias, I got a question. What if Issei actually remembered everything that he pretended to know nothing? Rias looks at Kevin with a frown face and she responds. Issei can't remember anything, but I can't help to admit he is different. Then suddenly the entire club room felt a surge of power that felt similar to Drake. Heaven decided to ask Drake. Hey, Drake, did you felt that? Drake responded with a concerned voice. Yes, partner, I felt it. It was like an exact copy of me. Do you know who? Kevin asked. Drake stood silent for a moment and replied. No. I don't know, partner. Drake didn't want to say the truth. Bria spoke up. Alright, this person could be dangerous. If it is an exact copy of Drake, it has the power to destroy worlds. I'll contact Sona about this also, Azazel. Heaven spoke. Right now they're fake and real Red Dragon Emperor. I'm ready to face it at any time. As he looked with determination. Now every angel, devil and fallen angel, powerful or weak, knows the new Red Dragon Emperor, which was Kevin. Others were upset that Issei was no longer the Red Dragon Emperor. This will trouble the three factions about the new and former Red Dragon Emperor. The next morning Issei woke up. He dressed up in his school uniform. Issei went downstairs to eat breakfast with his parents. Issei knows that his parents lost their memories about the supernatural. As they were having their breakfast, Issei decided to have a talk with his parents. Issei spoke. Mom, Dad. I have something to say. Issei's father spoke. Is it about women? Issei's expression turned into a serious one, which his parents was shocked to see. Issei spoke. What would you do if you had friends that you relied on then they left you on your worst moment? Issei's parents were confused about his question. Only they knew he had two pervert friends. Issei's father decided to respond. If I was in your position, probably I'd blow up some type. I wouldn't do that in real life. Issei's shadow covers his face, then grins. Now he has something to do after his father said. Issei is now thinking to blow up the Kuo Academy as part of revenge on Rias and the rest who left him. Issei spoke. Sorry for the awkward question. I just wanted to know. I'll be leaving to school. Issei went to pick up his bag and left to school. As Issei was on the front gates of school, Issei in his mind started to plan how to blow up the school. Issei was looking for key points where is most destructive and where it can be hidden. During school Issei took out a notebook and began to write on it. Issei couldn't help but let out a chuckle. After school Issei returned back home and began to work on his plan. Issei started to make C4s. After making them he went to the academy and started placing the bombs in key points. He placed at every schoolroom, gym, cafeteria and other clubhouses. Issei spoke. Rias, this is a little payback for leaving me. Don't worry, there will be more. Issei left the school and went back home excited to start his plan tomorrow. Rias and her peerage were at Kevin's house. Kevin's was having fun until he was interrupted by Lucifer, who came from a magic circle. Lucifer spoke to the new Red Dragon Emperor. Sorry for interrupting, but we have situation. Kevin asked. What is it? Now everyone was paying attention to Lucifer, anxious to hear. Many devils in the underworld are not accepting that Issei is no longer the Red Dragon Emperor. Which if this continues there could be a civil war. Is also happening with the other two factions. There are angels are willing to fight against Gabriel. Also fallen angels are willing to fight Azazel. Rhea spoke. So there is a possibility there are three civil wars at the same time. What about the dragon faction? Lucifer responded with a sigh. They haven't accepted the Kevin as the Red Dragon Emperor as long as Issei lives. Kevin asked. Are you suggesting we should kill Issei? Lucifer nodded at Kevin and spoke. Yeah, it's going to be hard for Drake to accept to kill his former host. Drake spoke as he came into a gauntlet. Kevin, think twice about killing Issei. Even I accepted it, the dragon faction will be furious to hear the new Red Dragon Emperor kills the former Red Dragon Emperor. You'll be hated for eternity. Kevin spoke. It's like our hands are tied, but it doesn't mean I have to kill him. We'll have someone to do the dirty work. Rhea spoke. Let's talk more details tomorrow after school in the club room. Lucifer spoke. Right, let's hope it ends quickly before it's too late. The next day Issei went to school thinking when to blow it up. As Issei walked to his classroom, Issei heard Zenobia speaking. At 8 we'll talk about killing Issei in the club room. As she spoke to Sona. Issei pretended not hear it, but he needed to prepare himself to protect his life. During school many devils were having a grin looked on their faces. Issei spoke to himself. We'll see about that. I'll give the first punch. After school Issei left back home to prepare to blow the school up. Issei hid himself from a building waiting for the meeting to start. Sona and her peerage went to the club room to discuss how to assassinate Issei. Sona and her peerage entered the club room and saw Rias and her peerage along the four devil kings. There was Azazel and Gabriel as witness. Sona decided to speak first. So we are talking about killing Issei, right? Rias responded. Yeah, he become trouble to the three factions. Many won't accept he is no longer the Red Dragon Emperor, which can cause 3 civil wars at the time is like a ticking bomb. Sona spoke. I see your reason why. The question who will kill Issei, but he is human after all. Not mentioned there was a gear that is a replica of Drake. Azazel spoke. That's interesting, I must find out who is it, maybe it could join our side. We haven't heard anything from it in days. Gabriel spoke out. I have a theory, what if the replica of Drake was to protect Issei because he was former Red Dragon Emperor? Many were thinking deeply about the replica of Drake gear. Wondering where could it be. Sona asks. What does the Yakai faction think about Issei? Lucifer responded. Well, they are neutral. They can't decide until who is the real Red Dragon Emperor, knowing that Kevin has Drake. Issei looked at his watch and spoke. It's his time. Issei pressed control button which moments later. Then a series of explosions came that destroyed completely the school and its surroundings. The ones who were in the club room were also caught in the explosions. Issei couldn't help but laugh. Everyone was laying on the ground hurt. Lucifer spoke as he was getting up in anger. Who the hell decided to attack us? Letting out a red raging aura. Many who got up were angered by the surprise attack. They tried to sense anyone, but there was nobody. Sona began to look around and saw the school completely destroyed. Kevin decided to ask Drake. Hey Drake, do you know who did it? I did sense the one with the replica gear. Drake responded. Kevin exclaimed. How the hell it knew we were here? Zenobia spoke. Probably it knew our plans to kill Issei. Maybe this is a warning. The 4 Devil Kings and the other factions leaders were now worried about what is going to happen next. Issei decided to leave before he gets caught. Issei started to walk back home. As he was walking back home, Issei saw a figure in front of him. It spoke. Well, Red Dragon Emperor, let's fight to the death. Then Issei remembered it was Vali. Issei spoke. Sorry White Dragon Emperor, I can't no longer fight. I'm no longer the Red Dragon Emperor. Drake has a new host. I'm no longer a devil anymore. Vali felt disappointed that Issei wouldn't be able to fight him as promised. Issei grins and spoke. The good news, I know the new Red Dragon Emperor. His name is Kevin, a pawn of Ria's Gremory. I don't care what happens to them. Don't tell them that I told you. Vali spoke. Thanks for the information. I'll plan when to meet him. I won't tell anybody about this. Later. Then Vali spread his wings and left. Issei spoke to himself. Kevin, you'll have an enemy that want to kill you. Enjoy your suffering life. Issei returned back home with an evil smile. Now he has to plan for the winter break. After weeks passed, the winter break came. Issei didn't want to stay home, instead he wanted to explore. Issei decided to take a trip to Kyoto. He already discussed with his parents for his winter break, which his parents didn't mind for him taking a trip. Issei packed his clothes for the winter break. After a few hours, Issei was on the train station waiting for his ride. After like 10 minutes, Issei aboard the train with his luggage. Issei sat down on a seat and began to look outside of the window, looking at snowy landscape. Issei started to remember the day he went Kyoto with his former peerage. The time they fought to free Kunu's mother from the hero faction. That he promised to meet them again. Issei felt sour in his heart just by remembering it. Issei started to fall asleep so time can pass quickly. As Issei fell asleep, Issei started to dream. Issei was in the underworld, seeing a wasteland around him that reaches for miles. In the distance he could someone unleashing power, destroying and killing everything in its path. Issei saw Rias, Sona, Azazel, Barakiel, Michael, and their entire factions fighting someone. Issei saw Kevin fighting the figure, trying to kill it. Issei was trying to get the closer look at the figure. He was shocked to see himself fighting the 3 factions. Issei was wondering what caused him to go berserk. He saw himself in rage and with bloodlust. Before he could approach the fight, Issei started to wake up in the train. Issei gasped as soon he woke up. He began wonder the meaning of his dream. Before he could think anymore, he heard an announcement the train was stopping at Kyoto station. Issei prepared himself to leave the train. The train stopped at the station and Issei got off the train. Issei looked at his phone and the time was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Issei began to look around and saw only humans. Issei spoke. Why not, I'm human after all. I'm no longer a devil. Issei entered Kyoto and saw the beauty of nature. Issei couldn't stop looking at it. Issei went looking for a hotel to stay for the winter break. Issei unpacked his stuff and began to plan for the winter break. Issei looked at his phone, which was 8 o'clock. Issei decided to go out to eat dinner. Issei went to a simple restaurant where is served noodles. Issei ordered his food and began to eat his noodles. As he was eating, he was looking at his surroundings if he saw Yaokai, but to his disappointment he didn't saw no one. Maybe he was restricted to see the supernatural in Kyoto. After eating his noodles, he paid for the meal and left for stroll in the woods. Issei was walking on a trail where tourists can walk in the woods. Issei remembered the day he met Kunu for the first time on the shrine where he fought in the woods. As Issei was lost in his thoughts, he didn't notice that someone was running up to him for help. Issei was tackled to the ground, which Issei returned back to reality. Issei saw a black hair woman wearing a purple kimono. Issei looks at the woman and saw her eyes were purple and she had a beautiful face. Issei noticed that the woman's scared expression. Issei gets up from the ground and helped the woman to get her on her feet. She was a few inches shorter than Issei. Issei spoke to the woman. "Are you okay?" The woman could only hug Issei tightly for comfort and responded with fear. "They coming to kill me?" Issei asked. "Who?" Looking at the woman. Before the woman could respond, a group of devils flew down near them. One of the devils spoke. "Where you think you are going? You can run but not hide from us." Issei noticed that the devils have bad intentions for the woman. Issei started to boil in anger, wanting to fight them. Issei went in front of the woman ready to defend her. The devils saw Issei and started laughing. Issei spoke. "I suggest you guys to leave." One of the devils spread his wings and flew towards Issei, knocking him, which caused him flying to a tree. Issei was groaning in pain after getting hit by the tree. The devil spoke. "Do you think a mere human defeat us? Humans are weak. I should kill you before you tell anyone." Issei was angered for being weak and spoke in command. "Balance breaker." Issei turned to his balance breaker, which the woman and the devils were shocked to see human with a sacred gear. What was the most shocking? It was the Red Dragon Emperor. The devils spoke. "Let's kill him before he does." The devils jumped on Issei, which Issei started boosting his gear. The devils spawned their weapons, which was swords. Issei punched one of them in the gut, which sent him flying to a tree. The other devil came beside Issei to cut his head. Issei was barely able to dodge the attack. Issei, quick thinking, he grabbed the devil's sword from his hands and stabbed him in his stomach. But shortly after, the devil died. Issei turned to the other devil and blocked the incoming attack. Issei was struggling because he didn't enough strength to beat them in brute force. Issei decided to put power in his arms to have more strength. Issei could only boost 5 times at the maximum, which he used in his arms. More devils came in to attack Issei. Issei could only deal 1 at a time, which he was in high water. After a few minutes of fighting, Issei was getting tired quickly before he gives out. One of the devils spoke, laughing. "Haha. That's all you got. I expected to be more entertaining." In desperation, Issei stabbed the ground with all his strength, making a large shockwave that sent the devils flying to the trees, instantly knocking them out. Issei approached the devils and stabbed them one by one after killing them. Issei turns around to see the woman with foxtails. Issei smiled at the woman, then fell unconscious, falling to the ground. Which the woman ran up to Issei, catching him before he hit the ground. After couple of hours, Issei began to open his eyes. At first his vision was blurry, then started to become clear. Issei saw the woman looking down on him, smiling. The woman spoke. "You finally decided to wake up." Issei noticed that he was laying on the woman's lap and he quickly gets up. Issei bowed down to the floor in front of the woman and spoke. "Sorry for being unconscious." "Not at all, you saved me from the devils from being killed. This is at least what I can do." The woman smiles. Issei lifts his head and noticed the woman had her 8 foxtails out, which were purple and white at the tip. Also, Issei noticed the woman's breasts were larger than Akeno's. Also, he noticed the woman had perfect body figure that every man wished for. Her hair was dark purple that her hair reached to her back. Finally, what Issei took by surprise by the woman, it was her kimono that her chest was half revealing. Issei tried his best not to show any expression of embarrassment. The woman noticed Issei's reaction, which she grinned. "So you were checking me out?" The woman spoke with a teasing tone. Issei immediately looked away and responded. "Sorry, can't help it. Forgive me." Not wanting to be hit by the woman. The woman spoke while blushing. "Oh. Well, is my first time doing something daring in front of the guy. I wondered kind of reaction you'll have. What your name, Red Dragon Emperor?" Issei frowned a bit and responded. "My name is Issei Haidu." The woman spoke. "My name is Mia Young." Issei noticed that he was in his hotel room, but didn't question Mia about, since she is part of Supernatural. Issei sighs and spoke. "About my title of the Red Dragon Emperor. There is something you need to know." Mia looks at Issei, paying close attention, ready to hear what he has to say. Issei looked at Mia and spoke. "This is going to be a long story. So pay close attention." "Alright, I'm listening." Mia spoke, feeling anxious to hear. "I'll start from the beginning. Before I became the Red Dragon Emperor. Almost a year ago, I would peek the girls undressing with my 2 friends. We usually get beat up the kendo girls. There was a particular girl that caught my attention. She red crimson hair that reaches to her back and has blue ocean eyes." As Issei spoke with bit of frustration. "One day I was walking back home on a bridge looking at the view of the city. A black hair girl came to me to ask me out. Which my heart felt full of joy of having my very first girlfriend. The day after she and I went out shopping that I bought her a bracelet. At the end we went to an empty park. She runs in front of the water fountain and turns around. She asks me if there's something I can do for her. I asked her what would it be. She tells me if I could die for her. Which got me confused because I thought I heard it wrong. Then she tells me again. It shocked me, why should I die for her? Then she transforms into like an angel with wings of black feathers. I was speechless. Then she proceeded to tell me I was a threat to them. I tried to run away, but I was struck by a light spear. As I was dying, she tells me to blame God for giving me the sacred gear. She disappears in front of me. I wonder why this had to happen to me. I was willing to change myself to become a proper boyfriend. Then it came a thought of red crimson hair girl. How beautiful she was before I was out. I saw the girl telling me that I won't die. As Issei began to feel sadness in his heart as he spoke. Mia was heartbroken to hear Issei's tragic past. She wanted to comfort him, but waited to hear the full story. Issei continued speaking. Morning came. I was shocked that I was in my home thinking it was dream. I noticed the red crimson hair girl was sleeping with me. She tells me it was real that would happen. Later she tells me that I was reincarnated as a devil. I had to accept the reality that angels, devils, fallen angels exists. One day I was attacked by a fallen angel which caused to wake up my sacred gear, which it was a boosted gear. After a few days I was known as the Red Dragon Emperor. The thing is I was the weakest host, not to mention I was pervert. Later they avenge of my death. Mia decided to ask with confusion. But what has to do with your title? Issei looks at Mia with sadness in his eyes, not wanting to cry. Issei responded. I served the crimson hair girl with loyalty. I put my life on the line for her in order to protect her. She cried for me, which I had the will to fight on. After several months I helped my team members to get over of their past. I saved my master from her marriage and defended the underworld from war. I thought they loved me no matter I am. One night we were out dealing with a stray devil. The devil tricked up to its sleeve, which took out a revolver and shot my chest. I killed the devil, but it came with a heavy cost. I lost my sacred gear after weeks getting on my feet. I was the weakest devil, weaker than the devil's kids. My master told I was useless to her. I looked at team members, but they gave me a cold look. Not to mention they found another person to replace me. He had the boosted gear that I lost. My master took away my pawn pieces, which I became back to human. I was heartbroken. They just used me for their personal goals. I was no longer welcome to the underworld. Then my master erased my memories of the supernatural. When I woke up everything was normal, like nothing has happened. Then I found a green orb in my pocket. I remembered everything. I was filled with rage and regret. I swore that I would get revenge for throwing me away like trash. Ever since I pretended not know nothing about the supernatural. One night I walking back home I found a broken gauntlet. I decided to take it home. I fixed the gauntlet and placed a green orb which transformed like the boosted gear. Then I realized it was a replica of the original boosted gear. As you can see, I lost the title of the Red Dragon Emperor, but I had a replica of it. If I use it, the people thinks I'm the Red Dragon Emperor. As a human I'm weak, so it was lucky that I was able to kill them. Mia was shocked to hear Issei's past. Then Mia gets up and approached Issei and started hugging him. Issei couldn't help but let out tears to flow down on his face without making a sound. Mia asked, "Who was this master of yours?" Issei pulled away from the hug and had a look of resentment and responded, "Her name is Ria's Gremory." Mia spoke. "I heard her before she became famous because of you. You defeated the strongest young devil. Not to mention you were known as Oppai Red Dragon." Issei looked at the floor and spoke. "I really regret such title. At least I was able to know the true nature of my former friends." Mia looked at Issei and spoke. "When I saw you and you noticed me, I was overjoyed that a human acknowledged me. Most the time they don't notice I'm not there, like there is a barrier between human and supernatural." Issei looks at Mia with a smile. "This city is where humans can't see the supernatural. Maybe it is this gear made me notice you." Mia immediately hugs Issei to her chest. Issei tries to break free, but he couldn't but suffocate between her chest. Issei knew if he was still a pervert he would have enjoyed the feeling. Mia finally lets go of Issei after a minute. Issei started gasping for air. Mia now realizes what she has done. Mia was blushing hot red. Mia spoke frantically. I'm sorry, Issei." Issei spoke. "No, it's okay, Mia, it was just a hug. But I have a question, why you were chased by the devils?" Mia lets out a sigh and responds. "It's because I didn't want to join a peerage. So I was chased ever since, running for my life." Issei chuckled and spoke. "I guess we have problems in our lives." Mia looks at Issei intensely, seeing his average body. Mia wondered what if he worked out. Then Mia gets up and grabs Issei's hand to take him outside. Issei was shocked by the sudden movement. They both went to a hill and sat down looking at the stars. Issei didn't said anything, but couldn't help see Mia her true form. Seeing her beauty he felt that he already fallen for her. Issei spoke to his mind. "This time I'll protect Mia, but I need to become stronger." Then Mia leans on Issei's shoulder while blushing. Issei looks at the stars wondering what would happen between them. The next couple of days Issei was hanging out with Mia in Kyoto. Mia had her fox ears and tails. Mia would wear a different color of komodo. Issei couldn't help but stare at her beauty. Mia noticed Issei looking at her, which she didn't mind. Many of the people in Kyoto were jealous that Issei would be able to be with Mia because she was beautiful. Mia would try out different foods. Issei couldn't help to see her adorable. Issei spoke to Mia while walking. "Let's go back to my place to relax." Mia spoke smiling. "Sure, why not?" Issei and Mia went back to his place. Once they entered, Mia took out her ears and tails. Mia spoke. "Finally. It's quite hard to keep my human form. I like this better." Issei spoke. "I like that way too. Which makes you more beautiful." Mia immediately started blushing and Issei realized what he said. Issei spoke with embarrassment. "Is a compliment. Don't take it the wrong way." Mia couldn't help but giggle to see Issei's reaction. Mia spoke. "No, is okay. Alright, I'll go take a bath. Don't peek." Teasing Issei. Mia walks to the bathroom to take a bath. Issei shook his head and began to walk around the hotel room. Issei began to hear a deep voice out of nowhere. "What your wish?" Issei began to look around and saw nobody. Issei sighed, thinking it was his imagination. The voice again. "What your wish?" Issei now clearly heard the voice and spoke. "I wish to become stronger to protect who I care about, though I was thrown away as a piece of shit." The voice spoke. "You were chosen as Red Dragon Emperor. You protected the underworld world. Despite that, the people you called friends enjoyed seeing you fall while trying. You'll avenge the ones who wronged you even though the whole world is against you." Issei heard a sound behind him, which he turns around and saw a spiral ball was forming. Issei approached it and saw the spiral ball began to bigger, then a strays of light beam out. Issei was shocked to see something was happening. Then immediately spiral ball entered Issei's body. Issei was confused at first. Mia quickly came out, only with a bath towel covering her. Mia asked in a worried expression. "Issei, are you okay? I felt a wave of energy in here." Issei smiled at Mia, trying not to stare at Mia's chest, and responded. "Yeah, I'm fine." "Ah." Issei yells in agony, causing him to yell at the ceiling. Mia was now worried and saw beams of light coming out of Issei's body. Mia immediately creates a barrier around Issei in case something explode. The light blinded Mia for a while and noticed the light was dying down. Issei was back to normal, but he looked around if anything changed. Mia was glad that Issei wasn't hurt. Issei was confused what happened, then he felt power in his body flowing. Issei started to grin. Mia saw Issei's reaction and spoke. "Something wrong?" Issei looked at Mia and responded, grinning. "I feel power flowing in my body. But also there are evolution, meaning I need to train to unlock more power." Then Issei quickly realized that Mia only had a towel covering her. Issei immediately looks away. "Something wrong, Issei?" As Mia approached closer to Issei. Issei responded by not trying to look at Mia's breast. "You need to put some clothes on." As he spoke with a blush on his face. Mia realizes what Issei meant and grins. Mia presses her breast against Issei's body and speaks teasingly. "So you are trying not to look at my breasts? I don't mind you looking at them." Issei was now conflicted to either look or not. Issei quickly spoke. "I'm going to take a shower." As he left for the bathroom, leaving Mia. Issei now was taking a shower and spoke to himself. "Damn, what the hell I'm going to do? She pretty and all. Does she actually likes me, or she just playing around? I rather not fall for her." After taking a shower, Issei went to his room and fell asleep. Mia went to her own room to sleep. After a few days, Issei would go to the woods and train to unlock his powers that were given to him. Slowly Issei was able to unlock his powers. Issei couldn't help but smile, he was regaining his powers back. Back to Cow, Kevin and the rest of team were trying to find where is the replica of boosted gear. To their disappointment, they couldn't find it nowhere. Kevin and his friends were at his house. Kevin was in his room thinking through what happened. Kevin couldn't help but feel worried if the replica boosted gear welder would come after him. Azazel says that the replica gear has a chance to match up the boosted gear. Ria's hope that Issei isn't the one welding the replica gear, because if Issei welded, there is a chance he would remember about he was stabbed on his back. Ria's asked Kevin, a bit worried. "Kevin, do you think Issei would come back for vengeance?" "I don't know, Ria's. I wished I had the answer. It troubles me also and everyone else. It surprised me that Issei left the town. To what place?" Kevin responded as Ria's laid her head on his shoulder. Ria spoke. "I heard that Issei left for a tour in Japan. I can't help but feel shocked. He has some type of aura, is so small you can hardly feel it. Maybe it was after you took out the evil pieces that left him little power in his body." Kevin spoke as he started to stroke Ria's hair next to her ear. Then the rest of girls came to see Kevin and began jumped on him to the bed. Kevin was making out with the girls, but Drake can't help but feel worried for his former host, if he would remember or not. After months after the winter break, Starting a new year in Cow Academy. Issei returned back home from his trip. Issei's parents were happy that he changed from his pervert behavior. Issei cut bit off of his hair, making look his hair sideway. Also, his physique was also different. His body was showing muscles under his shirt. Also, it can see the abs shapes, which was six-pack. Issei left for school for his third year. As Issei walked to the entrance of the academy, many students were looking at him in awe. One girl spoke. "Hey, isn't that pervert Issei?" One girl responded in disbelief. "Yeah, the pervert Issei, but he looks different than before. His hairstyle is different, also he does no longer have the ponytail. I wonder what happened to him." Many of the boys were jealous that Issei's body is chiseled. Also, his face expression was different. He had no longer the grin of a pervert, but of hardcore face, showing to not mess with him. Some of the girls were already falling for Issei to see him different. Issei got his schedule and went to his new classes. Issei couldn't help but feel being stared at. Issei decided to ignore the comments of others. Issei was focused on class. What shocked Issei that his pervert friends were with him in same class. The bald friend asks Issei, "What up, man? Been a while. Where were you?" Issei smiled at his friend and responded, "I took a trip during the winter break." Then the guy with glasses spoke. "So what's so important to leave your homies for a trip? We could have watched some erotic CDs." As he pushed his glasses back to his nose. Issei responded with a smile. "I went back where we had our last field trip to Kaido. Also, I brought some souvenirs for you guys." As he took some souvenirs out of his bag and gave it to his two friends. They are both in gratitude. "Thanks, man." As they started to look at their souvenirs. The bald friend spoke. "So you meet any sexy chick in your trip?" As Issei was about to respond, the pervert girl spoke up to the trio. "Hey guys, I heard you were talking about girls. Mind telling me?" The bald friend exclaimed. "Shut your mouth. This conversation is between the boys." The girl approached them and pushed her glasses back and spoke. "Well, I'm surprised Issei changed a lot. Also, his body is chiseled." Issei's friends looked at Issei carefully and were shocked to see him different. They both exclaimed. "How come we didn't notice it? And part of your hair is gone, especially your ponytail. Man, I'm jealous you have a chiseled body." Issei spoke. "I'm surprised that you guys didn't notice it. I decided to change." The girl asks Issei with curiosity. "To who you changed for?" Issei could only smile at them, and the pervert began to yell at Issei and began to grab him by his collar while shaking him. They spoke. "Tell us. Who is the chick?" Issei didn't respond but smile at them. The pervert girl spoke a bit shocked. "Now I'm looking at you. I see you are no longer virgin." The boys were shocked to hear the girl's comment on Issei. His friends took a sniff at his clothes. His friends exclaimed. "He has a scent of a girl." Issei, "Who is this true?" Issei grins and responds. "Is true, I lost my virginity to a girl." The friend with glasses asks while shouting. "Who is this girl? Your girlfriend or a stripper?" Issei lowers his head and room becomes silent. Everyone was now looking at Issei for a response. Issei responded calmly without nervousness. "My wife." Everyone stood silent for 5 seconds and everyone in the classroom exclaimed. "Why it?" Everyone started to speaking that Issei has a half-wife. It spread like a wildfire throughout the school. Some students fainted to hear the news. The bald friend asks Issei. "How old is your wife?" Issei responded with a smile. "She's 21. Everyone was in shock that Issei married a woman that is older than him. Issei spoke while grinning at his friends. "Also, she's good at bed." Issei pervert friends were now full of jealousy that Issei has a girl for him at bed. His two friends dropped down to their knees and started bowing to Issei like his was a monk. They spoke while tears were flowing out of their eyes. "Please, master, show us the way." Issei spoke. "First of all, you must no longer be a pervert in order to get a girl easier." During the rest of the day it was wild. Many guys were asking Issei a picture of his wife. Issei wouldn't show them in fear if any supernatural know her. When the news reached to Riaz, it was bit chaotic. Riaz was in her orc room doing some paperwork with her peerage during lunch. Then Sona and her peerage came running the orc room. They knocked quickly if it was urgent. Riaz spoke. "Come in." Wondering who would it be during lunch. Sona and her peerage came in and Sona spoke. "Sorry for intruding. I got news." As they closed the doors behind them. "Is it about the new Red Dragon Emperor?" Riaz asked as Kevin looked at them with hope for good news. Sona shook her head and responded. "No, not about that. It's about Issei." The entire club was now scared that if Issei remembered, hoping is not happening. Sona spoke. "Issei is different if you look at him. He is muscular and not to mention he has a wife." Everyone stood silent, even Kevin was shocked. Riaz had her eyes wide open like she saw a ghost. Irina was also shocked that her former childhood friend has a wife. Irina is trying to keep her heart pure, but her wings would flicker white and black. Riaz asked Sona. Do we know anything about Issei's wife? Trying to remain calm while drinking her tea. Sona responded. The only information I got that Issei's wife doesn't go to our school, also she is 21. Riaz immediately spit out the tea out of her mouth. Everyone was now looking at Riaz. Riaz took a napkin and wiped off her mouth and spoke. No way. Issei married someone older than him. Sona closes her eyes and spoke. So seems like it. I mean, there are guys who marry older women. Riaz spoke. I'll send Kaneko to check on Issei's wife to see what kind of girl is she. Sona spoke. Seems like a plan. At the end of the day, Issei was walking back home not knowing he was being followed. Issei went back to his parents' house. Kaneko uses her ears to hear the conversation. Issei spoke as he entered the house. I'm back. Then Mia came out with only an apron covering her body, also showing her ears and tails. Mia spoke. Welcome back, honey. You want dinner or me? With a teasing tone. Issei grins and responds. I'll have dinner first, then tonight I want you. Okay. Where my kiss? As Mia closes her eyes. Then Issei approached Mia and kissed her passionately. Mia would moan for a moment and break the kiss. Kaneko saw that Mia had her features out. Kaneko immediately contacted Riaz. Riaz spoke. Yeah, Kaneko. Kaneko responded a bit shocked. I got something. Issei's wife is a supernatural. She is most likely a yokai fox. She has like 8 tails and fox ears. I don't know if Issei if he can see it or he thinks it's just a cosplay. Riaz was shocked to hear a yokai fox in her territory. Riaz spoke. I suggest to return back. You don't want to be caught. The yokai wives are very territorial with their mates. Kaneko spoke. Got it. Then takes a picture of them and left. But Mia already saw Kaneko since the beginning. Issei went to dining table and sat down as Mia brought him dinner then and sat on his lap. After eating, Issei showered and took Mia to the bed to sleep. Mia would grab Issei's head to her naked chest, the place he enjoys the most. The next day Issei forgot what was going to happen that day. It was the day where parents or relatives goes to the academy to see the students' classes. Which means Mia would go to see Issei in school. Issei woke up and saw his face in Mia's chest. Issei hugged Mia, feeling her softness chest. Mia started to wake up and spoke. Good morning, Issei. It seems you like my chest. Issei responded. Good morning, and I like them. Mia and Issei share a kiss together and began to get themselves dressed. Issei noticed that Mia was getting ready to go out. Issei asked. Where are you going, Mia? Mia responded with a smile. With you, today where relatives of the student come to see their school. Issei smacked his face with frustration and spoke. I totally forgot about it. The thing that bothers me is that Riaz and Sona would question you. Mia hugged Issei and spoke. Don't worry, I'll make up a story that you don't know since you're human. I see, let's get going. As they started walking to the academy holding hands. After couple of minutes they reached to the school entrance. Many of students and parents were shocked to see Issei with a woman. Many of the guys couldn't believe how beautiful is Issei's wife, it surpasses Riaz and Akeno. Issei noticed the people reaction, he couldn't help but put his arm around Mia's waist, drawing her closer to him. Riaz and Sona with their queens were watching from afar. Sona spoke. That Issei's wife from the picture. To be honest, it surpasses you two in beauty and bust. I'll talk to her to join my peerage. Tell her the bad news about Issei. Riaz spoke while grinning. Mia joined Issei to his classes, and many of the parents questioned Mia how she is related to Issei. Mia would respond she is his wife, which shocked many parents. Riaz's parents were keeping an eye on Issei and Mia. Mia noticed she was being watched by the devils, fallen angels and angels. Mia didn't mind unless they dared to interfere her and Issei. Issei would treat Mia like she was human. When lunch came, Mia would sit on Issei's lap and feed him. Issei couldn't help but feel embarrassed and pride. Many guys were jealous of him. Hanako was watching in the distance to see if Issei knows about the supernatural. Suddenly she felt chills on her spine because she is watching them. After school, Issei and Mia were getting ready to leave school. Mia wouldn't leave Issei alone, she would always try to pull a kiss from him. Issei did gave her small pecks when nobody was watching. They started to leave the school grounds, but they were approached by Riaz and her peerage, including their parents. Riaz spoke. I see this is your wife, Issei. Yeah, she is. This is Mia, my wife. Issei spoke. Riaz grins and asks. Don't you mind talking to her? Oh, go ahead, I'll be waiting. Issei spoke and went to the front entrance. Riaz took Mia to the orc room as her peerage followed her. They were settled and Mia raised an eyebrow looking at Riaz. Riaz sat on her chair looking at Mia with a grin on her face. Mia asks as she was looking around. Is there something you want to tell me? Riaz places her hands under her chin and responds. I guess you know who we are. Devils. Mia spoke as her eyes were twitching. Riaz asks with a smirk. We know you are Yokai Fox and you are powerful. How you met Issei? Mia responded calmly. I met him in Kyoto. He was there for his winter break. We hit it off. I see if you didn't know. I'm Ria's Gremory from Gremory clan. As Ria spoke with pride. Heaven was watching but couldn't help but drool a bit over Mia. Then suddenly felt shivers on his spine to back off. Heaven spoke in his mind. Drake, you felt that? Sure did, partner. When yokai fox has a mate. No matter what species, if their mate knows, they get a bloody pulp. Drake spoke. Mia spoke to Rias. I heard many things of you. I heard about the Red Dragon Emperor being in your peerage. That he was known as Op-Eye Dragon. I was shocked there is a new Red Dragon Emperor in your peerage. Rias spoke with a smirk. You're right, Mia. You know who was it? Your husband Issei was in my peerage. He was the one stopped the Great War from happening again. Mia pretended to be shocked to hear the news and spoke. Well, why he didn't tell about his past? Rias responded. I erased his memory so he won't get hurt. I have a proposal for you. Mia asks as she raised an eyebrow. What is it? Would like to join my peerage? As Rias asks with a grin. A shadow cast over Mia's expression and responded coldly. No. Then her tails and ears came out. Everyone was now with a fighting stance. Mia spoke. Why should I? I have husband to care of. What the point of joining? Rias got up and responded. Listen, Mia, I'm not asking, I'm telling you. Do you want your husband face danger? Mia's arrows started to flare and spoke in anger. Are you threatening my husband? Because if you lay a hand on him, I'll kill you. Alright, I was just testing you. You think I'm going to do something like that? Rias spoke, hoping to calm down the situation. Ria's father and brother spoke to Mia. That right, she was just testing you. Mia calmed down a bit but kept her guard up. Mia spoke. I have to go now to see my husband. But if anybody interferes with Issei and I'll come back for you. Then Mia leaves to meet up with Issei. Issei asks Mia. Tell me. They told me about you and they asked me to join, but I declined. Mia responded. Issei was glad that Mia didn't join Ria's peerage. If she did, their life would be hell. Issei and Mia went back home. As for Ria's was frustrated by the way it turned out. In the morning, Issei was in bed with Mia, his face was between her breasts. Issei started to wake up and noticed where his face was. Issei would only grin and buries his face into Mia's chest. Mia woke up at the sudden movement and saw Issei acting like a baby. Mia started to giggle. Mia spoke. I see you like my breasts, Issei, such a pervert. I can't help it, they are so soft, I wish to be enveloped by these. Issei spoke between her chest. Mia hugged Issei's head to her chest and giggled. Issei would simply smile and began to snuggle to her chest. Mia spoke. You need to get up for school, hun. Issei reached out his hand and grabbed one of the Mia's foxtails. Mia immediately was shook and also moaned. Ah. Issei. You are going to turn me on. Mia spoke as she was trying to contain herself from jumping on Issei. Issei let go of Mia's tail and got up, which she looked at her. Issei spoke. Alright, tonight you better be ready. As he reaches to Mia's fox ear and began to scratch it gently. Mia would only blush and pulled Issei for a passionate kiss. Which Issei kissed back with same energy. Mia spoke as they broke the kiss. Alright, let me get your lunch ready. Mia went to the kitchen to prepare Issei's bento. Issei got himself ready to leave to school. After 10 minutes Issei's bento was ready. Mia went to Issei to the front door and gave him the bento. Mia spoke blushing. Here your bento. Issei grabbed the bento and spoke smiling. Thanks, Mia. Then Issei pulled Mia for a kiss before he left. Mia kissed Issei back and Issei broke the kiss and started heading to school. Mia shut the door and went to do chores in the house. After a while Issei was in front of the school and many people were talking about him that what happened yesterday. Issei was walking inside the building but noticed that Rias and her peerage were looking at him like wanting to kill him. Issei pretended not to notice and headed to class. In his class was of the classmates were questioning Issei and about his wife. Issei decided to ignore them because he didn't want to tell about his personal life. Issei sensed that he was being watched by someone. Issei couldn't help but smile at himself since they get any information from him. Heaven was in a different class thinking what to do later in the day until he felt shivers on his spine. Heaven spoke in his mind. Drake. You felt that? I did, partner. It is Albion with his host. He is close. It is wanting to fight you since you are the Red Dragon Emperor. Issei was the one to fight him before. Drake responded. Heaven asks. Can I beat him? Drake would sigh and respond. Most likely you won't. You are in disadvantage. You're never fought or trained yourself. It would be a miracle you did. Albion host have experienced and fought Issei. You must be ready for hell that is going to happen. Heaven now worried that he'll lose. He could be in his balance breaker but never fought. Basically if he fight the White Dragon Emperor would be suicide. After class Kevin went to the orc room to see Rias on her desk looking at paperwork. Briaz noticed that Kevin came in without knocking. Briaz spoke with her eyes closed. Have you ever heard about knocking? I'm sorry but it is urgent. Kevin responded quickly. Briaz noticed that Kevin is in trouble. Briaz is now worried for her pawn. As Akeno was standing in the distance watching the conversation unfold. As Irina, Kaneko, Asia, Zenobia, Rossius, Azazel and Gasper came in to see Kevin worried. Briaz saw everyone come in then later spoke. What is it? Wondering what could be. Kevin responded. I felt shivers on my spine then I asked Drake and he told it is Albion and his host calling me to duel. Feeling bit scared. Briaz noticed how urgent it was. Briaz knew that Kevin hasn't trained to fight yet. Briaz sighed and spoke. I wish there was a way to avoid it but you no other choice but face him. Kevin knew he couldn't get away and noticed that rest of his friends were feeling sorry for him. After school Kevin was outside of school waiting the White Dragon Emperor. After a few minutes Vali came walking. Vali asked. Where's Issei? The Red Dragon Emperor is scared. And who this devil is? Vali looks at Kevin. Briaz's peerage was now speechless. They didn't want to tell the truth that they turned their backs on Issei. Kevin spoke. I'm the Red Dragon Emperor. Which he took out his red gauntlet. Vali spoke grinning. I see you're the Red Dragon Emperor. Where's Issei? Kevin responded. He is no longer the Red Dragon Emperor. He's human but know nothing about the supernatural. Vali stood silent for a moment and spoke. Alright, let's what you are made of. Kevin and Vali entered to their balance breaker. Vali knew that Kevin is weak which he smiled that he would be his punching bag. Vali launched himself towards Kevin. Kevin got himself into fighting stance but then he was punched in his stomach. Which he was sent flying to a building. Briaz exclaimed. Kevin. Worried for Kevin. Kevin gets up from the wreckage and he was breathing heavily. Kevin started to boost himself. As Vali grinned that he hasn't boosted himself once. Kevin spoke in anger. You'll pay for this. Kevin charged at Vali which Vali stepped aside while placing his foot on Kevin causing him to fall. Briaz and her peerage saw how much humiliation that Kevin is going through. Vali spoke. I'm disappointed. I expected to be fun. You so weak like Issei when he was devil. Kevin gets up and started to flare large amount of aura. Vali smiles at Kevin seeing is going to get interesting. Kevin spoke furiously. Don't even compare me with Issei. Then suddenly Vali looks at the sky which Kevin was confused. Kevin looks up and saw a red streak light was flying down. The light crashed into a building. The whole building is destroyed. Then heard something coming out of the wreckage. Riaz and her peerage getting ready for a fight. For their surprise they saw a replica of boosted gear and balance breaker. Azazel was shocked to see a replica of Drake. Which got him interested. Kevin spoke. Who are you? The replica spoke. I'm a replica of Drake. They didn't know Issei was in replica gear. Riaz spoke with pride. Hello. I'm Riaz Jamarari from Jamarari clan. Explain yourself why you didn't show up all this time. As Riaz demanded. Issei spoke. Ah. I see. I heard great things about you Riaz. As Riaz started to smile with pride. Issei continued speaking. I heard what you did with your former pawn. Riaz was now shocked and asked. What do you know? Issei sighs and responds with hatred in his voice. You took away his life he had. He was loyal to you to the every end even after he lost Drake. You turned his back on him including his friends and the people he cared about. That's how you repay him. Riaz scoffed and spoke. Devil or not Issei was always weak. I just used him for my benefits. Benefits? You and your peerage already disgraced your very own clan the day you turned on him. What your clan think when they learn that Riaz the heir of Jamarari clan turns her back a former pawn that was the Red Dragon Emperor? I bet there will be civil war. Riaz was now shook by Issei words. Also that the replica knows about Issei. Riaz started to demand. How do you know about my former pawn? Issei responded. Well let's say I took an object from him. I made it combine with my gauntlet. I received his memories. So I decided to become his guardian so he can't get hurt. The explosions at school was me that you were trying to plot to kill Issei. Especially his wife I'll protect. How low you can get Riaz. Kevin after hearing the replica insulting Riaz. He was furious wanting to kill him. Kevin spoke in anger. How dare you insult Riaz. Now I see another version of Drake. Let's fight for the title of Red Dragon Emperor. So be it. Issei spoke with mocking tone. Vali stood aside ready to watch the showdown. Kevin immediately charged at Issei. Issei took a step aside which elbowed Kevin on the back then kicked him the stomach with his knee. Kevin coughed of sudden hits. Issei back off and spoke. Wow I barely started. That all you got? Kevin straightened himself and started to boost himself couple of times and charged at Issei. Kevin raised his fist to punch Issei in his face. Issei ducks his head backwards which Kevin missed. Issei raised his head hard that headbutted Kevin. Kevin helmet shattered. Heaven back off repairing his helmet. Everyone was shocked that the replica didn't use any boost yet. Issei spoke. Now my turn. Issei quickly charged at Kevin and Kevin got himself in defense. Issei raised his foot and kicked Kevin that sent him flying in 30 meters. Kevin knew he couldn't win against the replica. Issei quickly launched at Kevin. Kevin was now hopeless. Issei started to punch several times at Kevin until his balance breaker couldn't handle anymore. Then finally Issei used his tail and sung at Kevin to the ground. Kevin was on the ground bruised up and couldn't move. Issei spoke. Couldn't last for 5 minutes. Weak. I won't kill you this time, but next time is death wish. With that he spread out his wings and flew into the sky. Riaz and the rest went running towards Kevin worried. Kevin could barely keep consciousness. Ollie spoke. Since you lost. I won't kill you but next time get stronger. I'll be waiting. With that volley flew away into the sky. Kevin was took to the underworld hospital. Kevin was in the hospital for couple of days to heal. Riaz was now wanting to know who is welding the replica of the drag. After a few days after the appearance of the replica gear, Riaz was deep concentrated about finding the welder. During those few days to her disappointment it led to nowhere. Like it vanished in thin air. Riaz was in the orc room sitting on her chair doing paperwork. As her queen was standing behind her. Akeno spoke. President, may I ask something? Go ahead Akeno. Riaz responded as she was looking at the paperwork. What would happen if we didn't kick Issei out of our peerage? Akeno asked with curiosity. Riaz stopped looking at the paperwork and turned to her queen. Riaz took a deep breath and glared at her queen. Riaz responded with a bit of frustration. If we didn't kick Issei out, what would the underworld think about the Jamarari clan? They would laugh at us for having the weakest devil in history. Now we have Kevin the new Red Dragon Emperor on our side. He is a lot better than Issei and better looking. Akeno spoke as she was looking at her king. True Riaz. Do you find it odd that the replica gear know us? It sounds it has a personal grudge against us. Riaz was now a bit worried and responded. Yeah, but when I heard him it sounded like if it was Issei himself coming back. Issei himself doesn't remember us. I wish I knew there was a way to find out. Riaz walked to an open window and began to look out of the building. Riaz saw Issei under a tree talking on his phone smiling. Riaz decided to hear what Issei is talking about. Issei spoke. Yeah. I like it the pics you sent me. You are damn sexy in that outfit. You know sent them during one of my classes. You are really want me to get in trouble. Oh I see you are really trying to get me in trouble. You got something to show me? Are you sure? 8-bet. Issei pulled off his phone of his ear and pressed a button on his and placed his phone in front of him. Mia spoke. How you like it? Issei saw Mia wearing a thin purple bikini that was barely covering her. Mia had on her arm holding her chest and had her hips sideways. Issei was about to drool but held himself and responded. You are sexy baby girl. I really want to go home now and see it myself. Then Issei took some screenshots to his favorites. Mia started to giggle as she heard the screenshots taken. Mia spoke teasingly. Oh my. I'm being stalked by my own husband. I don't know what to. Issei smiled and spoke. Well, what I'm going to do with my wife's pics. Should I blackmail my wife to obey me for tonight? As Riaz was hearing their conversation, Akeno spoke. Ara, I see that you hearing their conversation. Are you jealous? Riaz spoke emotionless. No, but I find it odd. What do you mean Riaz? Akeno asked with curiosity. Riaz responded placing her finger to her chin. Issei still acts like a pervert to his wife. Shouldn't he be different? Well, they are husband and wife so it is natural. Akeno spoke. Yeah, I guess you are right. Riaz spoke and went back to her desk and started to do the paperwork. Issei was finishing up talking to Mia. Then out of nowhere his two pervert friends approached him. His bald friend spoke. Is that your sexy wife talking to you? Issei immediately hung up the phone and responded. Why you ask? Waiting to hear his response. His friend with glasses spoke. Well, it looked like your wife, but the difference is wearing ears and tails. If she is single introduced to us. If it is your wife you wouldn't mind sharing. Issei felt anger boiling up as he shut his eyes. He wasn't going to share his wife anyone. He'd rather have a spear through him instead sharing his wife. Issei spoke with a bit of anger. You know fucking well. That I would not share my wife with anyone. The bald friend asked. Didn't you said you wanted to become a harem king? As he spoke with frustration. I did but not anymore. I'm happy how it is. If you didn't know women can be complicated if you have more than one girl. Issei responded as he looked at his two friends. His two friends spoke in unison. You are so damn lucky Issei. You have a wife not just like that. She has a larger bust than Akeno or Riaz. That one in a millions bro. Tell us how you were able to pull it off. As they grabbed Issei's shoulders. Issei just only grins at them. Well, let's say I helped her that she gave me gratitude. To honest, she was hot, I wanted her but kept myself under control. We started as friends, then slowly we liked each other. Issei responded with pride while watching his friends in disarray. Then the bell rang after break. Issei and his two friends walked back to their classes. Issei was sitting in the classroom as many were talking about him and his wife what happened a week ago. Many of guys were jealous of Issei that he was able to pull off such a beauty. Many of girls was wanting to know his wife is but only saw her with Issei. As Issei was minding his own business, Zenobia was sitting next to Issei began to wonder how Mia would marry a human. Irina was sitting the other side of Issei. She couldn't help but feel sad and anger. She felt her body flickering. Irina, stop her thoughts before it goes out of hand. Issei felt he was being observed by two girls that he loved before. Issei wondered why they are still into him though Ria's erased his memories. After school, Issei was walking back home but didn't notice he was being followed. It was Kaneko who was following Issei. Issei entered his home and spoke. I'm home. Then Mia came out with her apron on, also with clothes. Mia spoke. Welcome home, Issei. Then Mia jumped on Issei and kissed him passionately. Issei kissed back and Mia pulled Issei to the dining table. Issei saw her parents were back home. Usually they would work late. Issei sat down on the chairs as Mia brought meal to him. Before Mia left for kitchen, Issei grabbed Mia's hand and pulled her to his lap. As he wanted to spend time with his wife. Mia would giggle by Issei's aggressiveness. Issei's mom spoke. I see that woman is your wife that you were telling us about. Issei spoke. Yeah, she is, mom. I'm sorry I couldn't introduce her sooner. Issei's mother spoke. No problem, Issei, she is good wife for you. When you first told me I was surprised. She have my blessing. Mia spoke smiling. Thank you for accepting me into your family, mother. As they were talking, Kaneko was watching, also hearing their conversation. Kaneko opened a magic circle call and called Rias. Rias spoke. Yes, Kaneko. I got news. It seems Mia is bonding with Issei's parents. Kaneko spoke with a normal tone. Is there anything out of place? Rias asked. Kaneko responded. The only thing is that Mia has her ears and tails are out. But the rest seems not to notice. You did your job, return back. Rias commanded. Kaneko just nodded and left but didn't realize that Mia knew that Kaneko was watching them. After having lunch, Issei's parents decided to go to the movies. As Issei and Mia stayed at home. Mia and Issei were at the couch watching TV. As they were watching TV till dark, Mia started to feel her body to get hot. Issei was busy looking at the weather. Issei noticed it was full moon, but the moon appeared to be larger and brighter. Mia started moving her legs around her, feeling squirming. Mia had a blush face on her. Then Mia grabbed Issei's arm. Issei thought it was normal. He placed his hand on her hip. With that movement turned Mia on. Mia started to press her body against Issei's. Issei started to feel something out of place. Issei looks at Mia, which he looked surprised. Mia was looking at Issei with lust. Issei could see heart shape in her eyes. Issei spoke. Something wrong, Mia? I want you. Right here and now. Issei was processing what Mia told him, but he got very flustered once he was able to understand. Mia started to get the initiative. Mia was going on top of Issei as Issei was falling on his back. Issei's mind was running wild. Mia started to kiss Issei aggressively. Issei noticed that Mia was out of control. Mia had her ears and tails all sprang up. Issei started to feel Mia's breasts pressing on him. Issei felt his blood was running hot. Mia spoke seductively. How about somewhere private? Mia pulled Issei to their bedroom. Issei was trying to process everything is going on. Once they entered to their bedroom, Mia was front of Issei and started stripping her clothes off slowly. As Issei watched her. Mia was only wearing a very thin purple bikini. Issei started to get aroused by seeing her such clothes. In the dark where the moon was shining through their window towards Mia, made Issei feel lost in her beauty. Mia was full of lust and won't stop. They started trying different positions which Mia enjoyed every single one of them. As Mia would be covered of Issei's all over her body from her hair, breast, back, legs. Mia continued to mate with Issei till dawn. Issei was laying on the bed worn out. Never in his life he had so much sex in one night, but it was the best night of his life. As Mia was laying on top him smiling. Issei scratched Mia's ear and began to massage Mia's breasts. Mia hugged Issei tightly, not letting him go. They stayed in bed for a couple of hours until Mia's wake up. Issei was in school busy doing with his assignments. As he was doing his assignments, Issei started to get text message from his wife. Issei looked at the text which read, "Babe, I was thinking we should go out tonight." Issei texted back quickly, "Alright my sweetheart." Then Issei put away his phone before he get caught texting and went back doing his assignments. Kaneko was watching in the distance, keeping on eye Issei for any changes, but it'd been about a month and a half watching him. Kaneko could sigh and started to head to the orc room. Kaneko knocked on the door, which heard a response. "Come in." Kaneko entered the orc room and saw Riaz looking out of the window. "Kaneko, is there any changes of Issei?" Riaz asked, still looking out of the window. Kaneko responded, "No, President. It seems Issei is enjoying his life like a normal person." Then head to couch and began eating her snacks. Riaz would only let out a long sigh. Then the rest of peerage of Riaz came in except Rossius. Kevin was looking at Riaz, noticed her expression was disappointment. Kevin asked, "Riaz, what wrong?" "Nothing." As Riaz looks at her peerage with a fake smile. Bakeno spoke, smirking. "President, don't lie, we know something is wrong." Riaz motioned her head to tell her peerage to take a seat. After everyone sat and they were looking Riaz. Riaz began to speak with her eyes closed. "To be honest, is not me but about my home." "What do you mean?" Kiba asked. "There are rumors in the underworld there is a civil war rising up, but they are being aided by the Chaos Brigade. Also, I heard from my brother that the rumors were also happening with all three factions. Also, they are a division who is the true Red Dragon Emperor. Some say is Kevin, others say is Issei since he is not dead. There been cases that devils, angels and fallen angels are fighting each other who is Red Dragon Emperor, but no one died yet. I fear is getting worse by the minute. If it happens, it would be our very own destruction." Everyone in the room were feeling down. After finally getting peace, a three-way civil war would happen. Kevin spoke. "Why we don't kill Issei, simple as from the strays." Zenobia spoke with concern. "Don't you remember the replica gear warned us to not hurt Issei or his wife? If we do, he'll come for us. We live, we do, we have the four great devils on our side. So basically we can plus since the two factions are at peace. The replica gear won't last long." Kiba spoke. Riaz paid close attention to Kiba words and spoke. "Alright, I'll contact my brother about this. There be negotiation for the strays. Kevin, you'll stay and train." Kevin nodded his head and stayed while Riaz contacted his brother about the plan. After school, Issei was walking back home wanting to see his sexy wife. Issei can't help but feel being watched. As soon he returned back home, he felt comfortable. It was because of Mia's aura wanting to be with him. Issei spoke once he entered his home. "I'm back, babe." Mia rushed in front of Issei and kissed him passionately. Mia broke the kiss and spoke, smiling. "Welcome back, Issei." Issei smiled at his wife and went to the dining table as Mia served him. After eating, Mia and Issei were watching TV. Mia asked Issei, "How was school?" "Well, normal as always, but I can't help but feeling watched." "So how you are without me?" Issei asked as he placed his hand on Mia's hips. "I really missed you. I wanted to cuddle with you," Mia responded as she laid her head on Issei's shoulder. As night fell, Issei took Mia in a bridal style to their room. Mia took off her kimono. Mia hugged Issei head to her chest as they started to fall asleep, leaving her ears and tails out. As they were asleep, there was several figures outside of the house. It was Stray's devils that were watching Issei. Slowly they started to get close to the house to kill him. Suddenly a bright light shined in Issei's room, which startled the Strays. Then as soon the light died down, they saw a woman in front of them. Mia spoke agitated. "Who dares to come to my house?" The Strays were now scared of Mia. Mia was powering up ready to take them. As the large of aura was coming out of Mia, one of the Strays spoke. "We're here to kill the former Red Dragon Emperor." Mia was furious that the Strays were coming to kill her husband. Mia immediately attacked the Strays. The Strays were no match for Mia's strength. Many tried to run away, but Mia would chase them down, killing them one by one. Mia catched the last Stray and started to choke its neck. Mia asked angrily, "Who sent you to kill my Issei?" The Strays would let out a chuckle and spoke. "I won't say it. Though you torture me, I won't say it. Have your way, but I'll find out sooner or later." Mia spoke. Mia used a purple fireball to burn the Stray devil into ashes. Mia returned back home with Issei. Mia hugged Issei's head once again to her large breasts. Riaz was at the orc room waiting for results until her bat familiar came to her. The bat spoke. "Master, all the Strays were killed by Mia." Riaz slammed her fist on her desk. "Damn it. That slut ruined my plans." "Did she find out about it?" Riaz asked. "No." The familiar responded. Riaz sighed in relief. Then Riaz dismissed her familiar. Riaz spoke to herself. "How long till the civil war? Issei, why don't you die already? One day I'll destroy your happy life. Replica gear, I'll find out your true identity." The next day Issei woke up next to Mia. Issei was smiling how he was snuggled between Mia's breasts. The day was the weekend, so Issei didn't need to go to school. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. Issei gave a peck on Mia's lips which caused Mia to wake up. Mia slowly opened her eyes and saw her husband awake. Mia smiled at Issei and gave him a morning kiss. Mia spoke. "Good morning, Issei. You slept well?" Issei wrapped his arms around Mia's waist and responded. "Yeah, I did, and you?" Mia could give him a smile, she knew her husband was in danger. Issei sensed that something is going on. Issei spoke. I remembered that I would take you out, but I was tired last night. Mia twitched her ears and spoke. Don't worry, today you are free, so we will be out the whole day. Then started wagging her 8 tails. Issei simply nodded and got up to take a shower. Mia would later join in with Issei. After taking a shower, Issei preparing himself for the weekend with his wife. As he was preparing, felt his wife hugged behind him. Issei turns his head around and saw his wife just with a towel. Mia spoke smiling. So what do you think? Issei could only blush and responded. You are pretty sexy. Mia took off her towel and Issei saw her naked body. Mia went to her cabinets to put her clothes on. Issei couldn't help but stare Mia's body. After Mia was ready, she asked. Where are we going? Issei went to Mia and put his arms around Mia's waist and responded. To the city. Mia smiled and kissed Issei. Issei took Mia's hand and began to walk out of the house. Meanwhile, Kevin was with Riaz and the rest peerage in the train. Kevin asked. Riaz, mind telling why we are going to the city? We are going to meet up with someone that might know the replica wielder. Remember, Kevin, you and the wielder are basically similar. That Issei was the Red Dragon Emperor. If there is any sort of connection between them. Riaz responded while looking out of the window. Irina was trying to keep herself calm from becoming a fallen. All the impure thoughts were running in her head. She was thinking why she was feeling good for hurting Issei. Riaz and her peerage came at a stop at the city station and began heading to a location. They entered a tall building, then got into the elevator, began to descend to the bottom. After reaching the bottom, they entered a dark room with little lights until they heard a figure walking towards them. As Lady Riaz Jamiri, you came for information. The figure spoke. Riaz spoke with a demanding tone. Tell us the information. Jill, Lady Jamiri. All the time, the only information I will share is Red Dragon Emperor and no one else. The figure spoke. Riaz started to get angered that only Kevin would get the information. Riaz started to show her red aura. Riaz spoke angrily. Why him? You know who you are dealing with. The figure spoke, started chuckling. I know who you are, Riaz, but I hold the information. You are not ready to deal with it. All I can say is that the replica welder had history with you all. Riaz was shocked that the replica wielder had history with them. Riaz wondered who was it. All she can think of is Issei. The rest was shocked and could only think what Riaz is thinking. Irina was feeling her body vibrate, wanting to change. Kevin approached the figure and spoke. Tell me then. Follow me in private. The figure spoke. Kevin followed the figure and entered a room. Kevin took a seat and sat down. The figure spoke up. What I'm about to tell is not leaving this room. Kevin, the new Red Dragon Emperor. Remember, the replica Drake has beaten you. The wielder didn't use a single boost and you did. Which means the wielder have experience in fighting. During the month you trained to be stronger, smarter, faster than the wielder. The question is, will you be able to beat the wielder? Yeah, I was training, but why are you telling me there's still no new information about the wielder? Kevin asked. Yeah, the wielder have connections with Issei, especially about the spark of civil war. You and Issei are the trigger for the war. The wielder would only protect Issei and Mia. I'll let you think who is the wielder. The wielder is coming for vengeance, what you guys done to Issei. Sooner or later. Furthermore, Issei has a chance to remember in time. Kevin was shocked that the replica wielder is coming for vengeance. Kevin started to think how deal with this kind of information. Kevin spoke to Drake. What if I kill the replica wielder? Well, I guess you can do it. Drake responded with regret. Drake knew that Issei is the replica wielder. Kevin walked out of the room and Riaz was waiting for him. Riaz questioned Kevin. What it told you? Hoping getting a response. I can't tell you, Riaz. Kevin responded and started heading to elevator. Riaz was angry that she can't get any information. After leaving the building, Riaz and her peerage booked in a hotel. Kevin sat on his bed thinking. The underworld is under balance. Then Drake spoke. Pal, if Issei obtains power he will remember, I promise that. Drake just shut up. Issei can't remember a thing, there is no way he can't obtain power. Kevin spoke. Drake kept his mouth shut but knew his former partner will return. Kevin was planning how to become the greatest Red Dragon Emperor. His greed was getting bigger since he was a host of Drake. Drake could sigh in disappointment that all but one host wanted power for self-gain. Drake would rather be with the most weakest and pervert host. Drake knew Issei isn't type of power. Drake spoke to himself. I wonder how long for Issei to act. Issei and Mia were at the train station waiting on the train. Issei was holding a suitcase on each hand. Issei asked. Why we need to pack clothes if we only staying in the city only for one day? Mia smiled at Issei and responded. Well, you will never know. Plus we are going to have fun together. Don't you like having sexy wife going with you? Issei blushed and looked at Mia's assets. Mia smiled seductively, putting her index finger on her lips. Mia spoke to Issei's ear. Tonight we'll have fun. Issei felt his nose wanting to bleed out blood. Issei could simply nod at Mia's statement. Mia continued speaking with a concerned voice. Issei. I feel shivers on my spine. Mia hugged Issei's body, her large breasts. Issei immediately began to look around and saw a group of guys were looking at his wife maliciously. Issei was pissed when guys were eyeing on his wife. Issei gave them a death glare, giving them a warning. The guys walked away with fear. Mia was glad that Issei scared off the guy that were looking at her. Thanks Issei, I feel better now. Mia spoke smiling. Then the train they were waiting finally came. Mia and Issei entered the train and packed their luggage away. Everyone on the train couldn't help but look at Mia's assets. Then they suddenly stopped, they felt death on their doorsteps. Issei was giving a death glare to anyone who looked at his wife. Issei and Mia found a two-seat. Mia sat near the window as Issei sat next to her. The train started moving and started to pick up speed. Mia wrapped Issei's arm to her large breasts. Issei felt enjoying the sensation. Issei was sitting contemplating, thinking what his wife would going to do in the city. Issei was fast asleep during the ride. Mia noticed that Issei was asleep. Mia let go Issei's arm. Mia pulled Issei's head to her large breasts. Mia began play with Issei's hair. The people around them were watching them. The guys that were watching were jealous how Issei was able to get an exotic wife. After a few hours, Mia noticed that they were close to the city. Mia spoke to Issei's ear. Wake up honey. We are close to the city. Issei woke up slowly and began to snuggle to Mia's breasts. Mia would let a giggle. That Issei is acting like a baby with his mom. Mia spoke teasingly. People are watching us. Issei immediately moved his head up. Then Mia grabbed Issei's head and placed back to her chest. Issei felt the amount bounce on her wife's chest. Issei was wanting to get up, but Mia wasn't letting Issei go. Issei thought to himself. Damn, I like the amount of bounce she has on her breasts. This is heaven for my life. The train reached to the city. Issei and Mia walked out of the train with their suitcases. Issei spoke. Babe, let's go find a hotel for the night. Mia smiled at Issei, and Issei pulled Mia close to him by putting his hand her hip as they started to walk out. They found a hotel to stay in for the night. Mia was excited to go out. Issei was happy to spend time with his wife. They were walking on the sidewalks, passing by several tall buildings. Mia was wearing tight blue jeans and a white shirt. Mia would rarely wear modern clothes since she usually wear kimono. Issei could see every detail of Mia's assets. Issei had his hand on her hip as they were walking. He could feel her body sway side to side. Mia spoke to Issei. Honey, we should go to the mall. Anything for you, babe. Issei spoke with a smile. Mia was happy to go to the mall. Issei and Mia entered the mall. By the inside it looks luxurious. There was many restaurants. Mia saw a store that caught her eye. It was a Victoria's Secret. Issei noticed where Mia was looking at. Issei felt like sweating, he knew what it was. When he was in middle school he'd go in the store and odd around. Issei spoke to his wife. I'll be waiting out here. As they were about to enter. Mia looked at Issei and spoke. Why can't you come with me? Well, it's for ladies only, so basically no guys are allowed. Plus I'm not used to going places like this. Issei responded nervously. Mia didn't understand what Issei meant. She decided to let Issei go. Mia entered the store alone. Mia awed by the amount of erotic clothes. The people that were working there were women. Some workers were looking at Mia's assets. They knew that she was beautiful. Mia began to look at the clothes. Then an idea came out to her. She'll buy a clothing to impress Issei. As she was thinking what to buy, a worker approached her. The worker asked. You need help with something? Well, I was wondering if there are any clothes that would impress my husband tonight. Mia responded. The worker grins what Mia stated. The worker looks around and saw almost like teen outside of the store standing looking at the other stores. The worker was wondering if the teenager is related to the customer. The worker spoke. Come with me. Mia followed the worker and saw lingerie. Mia began to look at sizes and saw her dream clothes. It was her right size and began look intensely. Mia smiled and went to counter to buy it. The worker was on the front desk scanning the lingerie. The worker decided to ask. May I ask, you know that guy over there? Mia turns her head and saw Issei standing looking at the other stores. Mia blushed and responded. Yeah, he is my husband. The worker was dumbfounded how a teenager have a beautiful wife. Mia walked out of the store and saw Issei waiting for her. Issei spoke. Finally, you took a while. Mia hid her shopping bag behind her. Mia just simply smiled at Issei and took hold of Issei's arm. The couple walked out of the mall and were taking a stroll in the city. They went out to eat at a small restaurant. After some time it was night time. Mia and Issei had been enjoying each other company. Then they crossed an ice cream shop. Issei asked his wife. Do you want some ice cream? Yes please. Mia answered happily. Issei left Mia standing on the sidewalk and headed to the shop to buy ice cream for both of them. Mia stood there thinking what to do tonight with Issei. As she was in her thoughts, a big crowd was coming towards her. Mia didn't notice because she in Wonderland. A lot of people came with cameras like going to see a celebrity. Then a luxurious car came and stopped. The camera people surrounded Mia. The people were waiting someone to come out of the car. The door finally opened. It was a young man with blonde hair. He was wearing expensive clothes. He looked handsome and a strong-built body. There was several cameras flashing on him. He was one of the most famous celebrities in the city. There was also several fangirls who were waiting for him. Many people began to ask questions about his career or personal life. The young man would usually answer casual. As he was walking, he noticed a beautiful young woman between the crowd. The man started to approach her. As Mia, still lost in her thoughts, she didn't notice the man was approaching her. The man held the woman's hand with a gentle touch. Mia returned to reality and noticed she was between a crowd. Mia saw a man was holding her hand. Mia asked, "Can I help you with something?" The man was now blushing and responded smiling. "Well, yes. Would you like to join me? I'll make you the happiest woman alive." Mia noticed she was being hit on. Mia saw pictures were being taken at her. As Issei was returning back to Mia from the ice cream shop, Issei saw that Mia was between the crowd and saw a man was hitting on her. Issei's anger began to boil that a man was hitting on his wife. Issei decided to approach the crowd and watch the scene. Mia spoke. "Sorry sir, but I have to decline." The man was shocked that beautiful woman turned him down without hesitation. "Well, I'll take you out for dinner, how about that?" The man spoke. "No thank you sir. I have a husband that I'm waiting for," Mia responded. Man was more shocked that such woman had a husband. He started to think it is some type of fat man with billions of dollars. As the man was about to speak, Mia turns her head at a direction and saw Issei standing watching her. Mia immediately raced towards him. Mia exclaimed, "Issei, what took you so long?" Mia hugged Issei tightly. Issei saw that Mia was disturbed by the man. Then Mia pulled Issei for a kiss. The man, in disbelief that the woman was married to an ordinary teenager. Mia took away the ice cream from Issei's hand and began eating it. Issei let out a grin at the man, which the man saw. Mia spoke. "Honey, let's go to our place." Issei just nodded and wrapped around Mia's hips. They started walking away from the crowd. The man was about to pursue them, but he was blocked by the crowd. As Issei and Mia were heading to their hotel, Issei was walking with Mia to their hotel. Mia noticed that Issei isn't happy, he was jealous. Mia spoke. "Hey honey, are you mad?" "And no." "Why?" Issei asked while trying to hide his jealousy. Then Mia pressed her large breasts on Issei's arms and spoke. "I know that you are. You are the one who saved me. I'm not leaving you until our death." As she spoke reassuring. Then Issei started to smile after hearing Mia's words. They continue walking while eating their ice cream. As they were walking, Issei started looking in the dark sky. He saw a full moon shining brightly on them. Mia also looks at the moon and her instincts began to take over. In Mia's mind, she awaited this night. It was her time to complete her long-awaited ritual. As Issei never knew the ritual, thinking at her body acting up. They walked to their hotel, then entering their room. Issei was sitting on bed and turned on the TV. Mia sat on lap and placed her hand on Issei's chest. Issei was blushing badly how he got a beautiful wife. Then he remembered the day when he was pervert and had girls all over him. The more he looked at it, the more disgusted he was. He'd rather have single girl loyal to him than a harem play him. Issei hugged Mia's waist towards him. After like an hour, Issei felt he needed to take a bath. Issei gets up and put Mia on the couch. Issei took his clothes to the bathroom. Issei entered the warm water and began to relax. After 10 minutes, Issei had his eyes closed, then suddenly he heard the bathroom door opened. Issei opened his eyes and saw Mia came in with a towel covering her naked body. Issei was staring at his wife. Mia spoke smiling. "Mind I join you?" Issei simply opens his arms wanting her to join him. Mia started to giggle and let loose her towel, dropping to the floor. Issei was hypnotized by Mia's assets right in front of him. Mia slowly get in the tub with Issei. Mia turns away from Issei and sat on his lap. Issei wrapped around Mia's waist as he put his chin Mia's shoulder. Issei was trying to control himself but lost to his pervertness. Issei slowly moved his hands to Mia's breasts and began to fondle them. Mia was a bit shocked that Issei was daring. Mia simply smiled, feeling the pleasure of being fondled. Mia spoke. "We won't stop mating until morning." Issei felt like being violated by own wife. Mia continued to have erotic sex with Issei until 11 in the morning. Issei wasn't able to sleep during their mating session. Issei felt weak, like his wife was a succubus. Mia was sleeping happily. Issei saw that some were spilling out of her. Issei wondered if he could survive another long sex session. Line break. Issei looks at his wife asleep. It was 12 o'clock. It was midday after their long session of mating. Issei gets out of bed but felt his body failing him. Issei never in his life feels so weak after a long session of mating. Issei cursed himself for being weak just by mating. Issei started using the walls and tables to support himself. Issei was feeling hungry. He needed to eat, get his strength back. Issei started to head out of the hotel. Issei was trying his best to be normal. Issei decided to take a shortcut to get to the restaurant faster. Issei decided to activate his balance breaker, not knowing what he caused. Meanwhile, Kevin and Ria's roaming in the city with the rest of Peerage. Then Kevin felt a surge of energy close by. Kevin asked his gear. "You felt that?" "Yeah, I did from that alley," Drake responded. Kevin immediately ran into the alley. Ria's and the rest of Peerage yelled at his name, but they decided to follow him. Kevin entered the alley, immediately put on him balance breaker form. Issei heard the sound behind him. Issei turned around. Issei spoke. "Just my luck." Kevin spoke loudly. "Replica wielder. Where do you think you are going? Now let's rematch." Issei sighed but shocked to see Ria's and the rest of her Peerage. Ria spoke, walking closer to Issei. "I'm Ria's Jamiri from the Jamiri clan. I order you to tell me who you are." Issei spoke with a dark tone. "No need to know who am I. Alright, I'll use force. Get him." Ria's is ordered. Issei spoke to himself. "Shit. My current state, I'm weak. I'm facing a Peerage. Kevin has gotten stronger." Issei decided to run as the rest started to chase him. Issei decided to use a few boosts to climb buildings. Ria smirked and began use her wings. The rest started to do the same. Issei immediately got inside of the apartment building. The devils followed him. Once they got inside, the replica wielder was nowhere to be found. Ria spoke. "Let's split up and search everywhere." Everyone spoke. "Right." Everyone was moving at slow pace. Issei was hiding, catching his breath. Issei decided to take them out one by one. He decided to out Kaneko first, since she is the strongest in strength. Kaneko was walking in one room with ear and tails out. Then she heard suddenly movement. In front of her was body emitter. Kaneko tried to dodge but was met with a punch in her gut. Kaneko was sent flying to a wall, which caught everyone's attention. Issei had to move quickly to another room. Ria's and the rest into the room and Kaneko knocked out cold. Issei decided to take his chances to get away. Issei quietly was moving to another room. Issei entered the room looking a way out. Issei found a window that led to a train tracks. Before he could get out, Issei heard someone running up to him. Issei immediately ducked a punch. It was Kevin that found him. Kevin spoke. "I found you." Kevin started swing at Issei, started to move, dodging the punch. Issei started to fight back. Kevin swing a punch at Issei face. Issei grabbed his arm and flipped him over on a table. The table broke into pieces. Issei heard the rest of Peerage were coming. Issei heard a train coming. Kevin gets up from ground. Kevin started to boost himself. Issei started to run into the window and jumped, crashing. Kevin started to chase him down. Issei jumped onto the train and saw Kevin right behind him. Kevin spoke. "Where you think are going?" Issei started to boost himself. Despite being weak, he need to buy time to escape. Kevin charged at Issei. Kevin threw a kick at Issei's face. Issei blocks with his arm and threw punch at Kevin's face. Kevin back off in pain. Issei decided to kick at Kevin, but Kevin caught Issei's leg. Kevin spun Issei to the ground, but Issei got his balance back using one hand on the train. Issei spun Kevin using his body, making Kevin hit on the train. Issei gets up feeling exhausted. Kevin gets up also and charged at Issei once more. Issei and Kevin started to throw punches at each other. Kevin was gaining the advantage. Kevin boosted himself and punched Issei in face, causing part of the helmet break. It showed part his hair. Issei would let it slide. Issei punched Kevin in the gut. Then they were crossing a bridge underneath is the highway. Kevin tackled Issei, causing them to fall. Issei opened his artificial wings, decreasing his fall. Issei got on top of Kevin and kicked him to the highway. Issei started to glide towards a pond. Kevin crashed in the road. Kevin armor shattered before he get ran over. He was caught by Ria's and flew away. Issei despin his balance breaker and started to get out of the pond. Luckily nobody was watching. Issei was soaked, but he managed to get away. Now he is far from the hotel. Issei felt couldn't stand anymore, but he heard a voice. "Where were you? I was searching for you." It was Mia voice. Issei looks at Mia showing a pouting face. Mia gave clothes to Issei to change. Issei was grateful that his wife is with him. Issei spoke. "I'm hungry by the way. I thought you ate because you were gone from the hotel." Mia spoke. Mia sensed that Issei got into a fight. She didn't want worry to him. Issei entered the restaurant with Mia. They began eat. After they ate they left the city. Kevin was in his hotel beated. He had a few bruises. Kevin spoke to himself. I almost had him to reveal his face, all I got is his hair. Well, the only reason you were close it's because he was weak at the moment. Drake spoke. What do you mean? Kevin asked. Drake responded. It seems someone drained his energy. Huh? I mean, he had a mating session, but a long one, like he was trying to get himself back. Which means if his energy wasn't drained he would have knocked you out to next week. Drake explained. Kevin grunted in frustration. He swore to beat him no matter what. After a few days, Issei was at home sleeping with his wife. He couldn't sleep that night. He'd been having some type of nightmare. In his dreams, Issei would see a figure on its knees holding a body in its arms and another small body on top of it. He could see the figure in tears, covered in blood and cuts. Issei could see the small body was fine, but the other figure was badly wounded, almost dead. The other figure holding the body was in tears. In the middle of his nightmare, Issei was brought into the white void. He was wondering what just happened. A loud voice spoke in front of Issei. Former Red Dragon Emperor. Issei looks at the void and asks. Who are you? Then large red dragon appeared in front of Issei, making him look like an ant. The red dragon spoke. I'm known as the Great Red. As he spoke in pride. Issei asked. Why are you in my dream? I saw your dream, so I decided to train you and also reclaim what is yours. Great Red responded. Reclaim? Issei asked, confused. Great Red responded. Your power. I seen Kevin, the new Red Dragon Emperor, is being more greedy, not using for a good purpose. His purpose is to kill the former Red Dragon Emperor. Issei was shocked that Kevin, his classmate, is wanting to kill him. Great Red spoke. Do you want to get stronger? Sure, why not? Issei responded. Every night Issei would train with Great Red. Great Red saw the progress of Issei. The Red Dragon could see Issei actually trying his best. The Red Dragon was wondering what is actual his motivation. During in the day, Issei was at home with his wife, resting his head on her lap. Mia spoke. Hey, hun. What is it, babe? Issei spoke, wondering what his wife is going to say. I've been off lately, but it wasn't like this. Do you have any idea? Mia asked. Issei stood quiet for a minute, not knowing how to answer his wife. He just responded. How about you get checked by a doctor, because I have no idea. Mia simply smiled at Issei and began play with his hair. Meanwhile, the faction leaders were having a meeting. Serziches spoke. Thank you for coming to this meeting. An archangel named Michael spoke. No problem, Serziches, this meeting must happen. Then a fallen angel named Azazel spoke. True, we have a situation on our hands. The three factions leaders stood silent, waiting someone to speak first. Then Serziches spoke. My people are being more unsettling as time pass over who is the Red Dragon Emperor. They say if it is Issei or Kevin. If the truth comes out, there will be civil war. Michael was the second to speak. My people started to split apart. They would look at me for a solution. Well, for me, there have been situations where my people fought each other and get seriously injured. I don't like this. We achieved peace and now facing a possibility of civil war among each other. Azazel spoke. What about the dragons and other entities? Serziches asked. Azazel decided to speak. The dragons are still undecided. The others are not taking sides. The three factions leaders were silent, not knowing how to respond to the problem. It was afternoon. Issei was in the room with Mia laying on the bed. They were currently in clinic to get Mia checked. The doctor came in with a clipboard on his hand. He was a bit tired, wanting to go home. He wanted to see some pretty women in his job, but to his disappointment, they are bit old people patients. The doctor knocked the door before entering the room. Once he entered, he couldn't believe his eyes. He saw a beautiful woman laying on the bed. In his head were filled with perverted ideas. Before he could daydream, his eyes laid on the young man. Issei was looking at the doctor, waiting for him to continue. The doctor made a note to himself if the young man was staring, saying, continue staring at her, you'll get knocked out. The doctor cleared his throat and spoke. Mrs. Hyde, you came to get checked, saying something wrong with you? Mia responded. Something like that, doctor. There have been times I would like to vomit or wanting to eat at unusual times. Well, I could guess the symptoms that you have is that you are pregnant, but I'll need to confirm it with a few tests. The doctor spoke. Issei was a bit shocked by the doctor's words. He felt like his heart was pounding, asking himself, am I becoming a father? Mia would put a big smile that she was happy that there was a chance to become a mother. The doctor started to do the tests on Mia. Issei started to freak out, feeling nervous for the results. After like an eternity passed, the doctor came back with the results on his clipboard. Issei asked the doctor nervously, what are the results? The doctor looked at Issei and responded, well, congratulations, you are a father. Issei's heart stopped for a second, like the world stopped spinning. His eyes widened as soon the words sunk to his mind. Mia was simply overjoyed that her dream came true. The doctor was smiling at the scene in front of him. He wasn't able to see like this often. The doctor left the room so the couple could accept the reality. Issei was standing in the room speechless. He turns to Mia was looking at him smiling. Mia spoke. Issei, you know I'm happy. Issei started to smile at his wife. He started to think that having a family isn't bad at all. Issei and Mia were at home. Mia was happy, full of joy that she gotten pregnant. As for Issei, he started to rethink of his life, still in shock. He was going to become a dad. His parents are going to be happy to hear the news. Mia approached Issei, which he was sitting on the couch. Mia spoke. We should start buying clothes for the baby. Hold on. We don't know the gender of the baby. Clothes are not important yet, but how I'm going to explain my parents? Issei spoke. Simply tell them. I bet they are going to be happy. Mia spoke. Issei nodded at Mia's words. He started to prepare himself how to say to his parents. After a few hours, Issei decided to call his parents that were out of town. Hello. The other side of the phone spoke. Issei decided to speak. Hey dad. I have something to tell you with mom. Okay, I have your mom with me. Issei's father spoke. Well, I have news to you too. I'm becoming a dad. Issei spoke. Issei's parents were silent after hearing their son's words. Then they exclaimed. What? Issei shouted, eyes from being yelled through the phone. Then Issei's mother asked. Tell me Issei is true. Yes mom, is true. Issei responded. Issei's father spoke. Yes. I'm going to have a grandchild. I'm so happy Issei. Also don't worry about the money. Make sure to care of our daughter. Issei simply nodded and spoke. Yeah dad. I thought I was going to get scolded for being too young to be a dad. Issei's father chuckled to hear his son's words and spoke. Yeah, we were dead shocked when you came back with woman saying as your wife. So now we kinda expected, but never so soon. Yeah, thanks dad. You'll see our child soon. Issei spoke with a smile. Alright, bye son. Issei spoke. Bye dad. Issei hung up the phone, then he was hugged by behind. It was Mia pressing her large breasts against Issei's back. What is it? Issei asked with a smile. Mia responded with the same smile. That you going to be a dad. So it went with your parents. Well, they were happy, but they didn't expect it to be so soon. Issei responded. Then Mia pulled Issei for a kiss, which he accepted at the kiss. The next day Issei was in school. There weren't much action on that day. Everything is normal, but he felt he was being watched more constantly. As for Kevin, he was always giving death glare at Issei. He wondered why he was being hated so much. If he did nothing wrong to him. During lunch, Issei was sitting under a tree, then he get phone call from his wife. He picked up the phone and spoke. Hello. Hey, honey. Can you get some popsicles, cake, pie, and a slushie when you get back home? Mia asked with a sweet tone. Issei was dead shocked what his wife is requesting. Somehow he had a feeling that he could not say no. Issei spoke. Yeah, I'll do that after school. Okay, thanks. Mia spoke while holding a knife in her hand. Issei felt he saved himself from a bullet. He could sigh in relief. Then his two friends showed up. His bald friend spoke. Yo Issei. Do you come with us to my house to watch some erotic movies? His other friend spoke. Yeah Issei, come with us. It'll be awesome. Sorry guys. I need to go shopping for today and see my wife. At least I have something real unlike the ones on the screen. Issei spoke with smirk on his face. His two friends started to yell at him. For our friendship's sake. You have a sexy wife waiting for you at home. What about us man? When are you going to share with us? Share what? Issei asked with a twitch on his eyebrows. Your wife of course. They both responded. Issei snapped out of it. He immediately pinned down the two perverts. Issei started to twist their arms slowly. Both of them spoke in pain. Ow. 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 Please stop. You should have chose your words wisely. I'm not sharing my wife with anyone. Issei spoke with a dark tone. Okay, we'll stop, but please don't hurt us. They started to plead to Issei. Issei let go the two perverts' arms. The two started to move away from Issei. Issei spoke. Bring about my wife, you're dead. His two friends just nodded in fear. The two guys started to leave Issei alone, not wanting to anger him. After school, Issei was in the market buying the things that his wife wanted. As he was shopping, he felt being watched. He would look around, but saw no one was looking at him. He continued to mind his business until he left the store. Issei returned back home and saw his wife laying on the couch. He spoke. I'm home babe. Welcome back. Mia spoke. I got the things you wanted. Issei spoke with a smile. No thank you, I don't feel like it. Mia spoke. Issei simply nodded and took to the table and began eating them, not wanting to waste them. After a few minutes, Mia approached Issei with puppy eyes. Issei asked. What is it? Can I have some? Mia asked. Issei simply nodded Mia, then Mia started eating the desserts like no tomorrow. Issei hope it won't last long. After a few months has passed, Issei was at home spending time with his wife. Mostly because the baby was growing inside of Mia. Mia was sitting on the couch having her hands on her stomach. She was happy to have a child. Issei was smiling at his wife. Mia spoke. Just a few months, our baby is growing. Yeah, I wonder if it is a boy or girl. Issei spoke. We'll find it out soon. Mia spoke with happy face. Meanwhile, in the underworld there was chaos. There'd been devils and fallen angels fighting among themselves. Their disagreement was too intense that caused riots and death in all large cities. The leaders of the two factions had deployed troops to stop the violence, but instead it intensified more. They were at breaking point of a civil war. Surziches and the other Mos and Azazel were sitting on chairs. Surziches spoke. This is getting out of hand. It seems deploying troops caused more harm than good. Through all because of the title of the Red Dragon Emperor. Issei or Kevin. Kevin is the current Red Dragon Emperor, but Issei is still alive, making him a former Red Dragon Emperor. People are thinking that a host must be dead, so the next rise. Now as different people are thinking that Issei isn't in the underworld anymore, we had done something to him. Azazel spoke. We must not let the truth out. Now if people finds out, a large bloody war will happen. How's the others' races are going? Surziches asked. Azazel responded. They still not decided, but they are now watching us every movement. If they find out, they may turn on us. Surziches placed his hands on his hair in frustration of the situation. We should have killed him and this never happened. Surziches spoke. Why not send Kevin to do the job? For the next months he'll be trained to fight the replica wielder. Azazel spoke. Yeah, let's get him trained. After months Issei was in hospital, his wife was in the bed in labor. Issei would walk in the hallway back and forth. After like an eternity he heard a baby cry. Issei quickly turned to the door. He saw Mia holding her baby as doctors were giving a happy smile. One of the doctors spoke. Congratulations, as healthy girl. Issei smiled in joy and approached his wife. Mia spoke. Hold your daughter, Issei. Issei grabbed his daughter in his arms. She had Issei eyes but had color of her mother's hair. Issei spoke. Her name is Emi. Mia smiled with agreement as Issei was spending time with his daughter. After a few minutes Issei passed Emi to Mia. A few days passed. Mia and Issei were walking out of the hospital with their daughter. After a few minutes walking, Mia started speaking while holding her daughter. Issei, we should tell your parents about their granddaughter. Yeah, I'm planning on it. They'll be happy to meet her. Issei spoke with a smile. Then suddenly Mia spoke. We're trapped. Right after she spoke, a large barrier appeared surrounding them. Mia started to activate her powers. Then Kevin appeared with a few high-class devils with him. Issei spoke. Kevin. Issei. It seems you are not surprised. Kevin spoke with a smirk. Greg later spoke. Kevin, don't do this. If you kill him, the whole faction will be at war. Shut up, Drake. Do you think I care about them? I'm here to claim the title. Kevin spoke. Drake harshly. Mia yelled at Kevin. Why do you want to kill my husband? Kevin chuckled and responded. Ha. Well, Issei is alive, so the three factions are fighting each other and I should be only Red Dragon Emperor. No hard feelings, Issei. I'm going to kill you. Kevin leaped at Issei at a high speed. Issei immediately activated his replica gear. Kevin was shocked that Issei was replica wielder the whole time. Issei punched Kevin in his face, sending back flying. Issei spoke. Surprised. Let me tell you. The day after I was betrayed, this orb regained my memories. I pretended not to remember, but now you really gave me a reason to kill you. As for Drake, was glad that Issei will fight. Kevin activate his balance breaker as Issei did the same. Kevin ordered the devils. Get the woman and the child. Mia created a barrier around her to withstand the attacks. Issei got pissed that they targeting his family. Issei charged at the devils but was knocked by Kevin. Issei immediately gets up and started to boost himself. Kevin charged at Issei with a punch. Issei dodged and hit Kevin in the gut with his fist. Kevin gasped for air, also with pain. Issei charged at Kevin and kicked him in the stomach. Kevin was losing in the beginning. Kevin started to boost himself, then charged at Issei. Issei threw a punch, but Kevin ducked, then he gave a punch at Issei chin. Issei backs off. He know that Kevin has gotten stronger, he has take him seriously. Kevin started to create a red sphere filling the magic. Issei quickly did the same. Kevin spoke. Dragon shot. Issei immediately lay on the ground and threw the sphere at him. Kevin was struck by Issei power. Kevin was slightly hurt but standing strong. Kevin took out Ascalon and charged at Issei. Issei did a round kick at Kevin's head with a few boosts. It caused Kevin's helmet to shatter. Issei grabbed Kevin, threw him in the air. Issei unfolds his wings and flew to the air. Kevin was regaining his awareness, then he met several punches and kicks to his body. As for Mia, was holding off the devils with her barrier. The devils were trying to break it with magic. She hoped that Issei would win the fight. Heaven unfolds his wings but was kicked on his back, sending him to the ground. As soon Kevin hit the ground, it created a crater. Heaven was losing his strength after so much beating. Issei flew straight down at Kevin. Kevin rolled over, barely dodged the punch. Heaven gets up and speaks. Issei, you're good but not good enough. We'll meet again, but it will be a death match. Heaven and the devils teleport away back to the underworld. Issei was breathing heavily. He dispelled his gear back to his normal person. Mia approached Issei with a worrying face. Issei clutched his fists that the reality is coming back to him. Thinking his life would be normal, but now back to square one with anger and hatred. In the underworld, Kevin appeared in the building along other devils. He was in front of a table where Formas were having a meeting. Serziches asked. Kevin, did you kill Issei? Serziches looks at Kevin, bruised up and blood over him. No. I wasn't able to. Kevin responded. What? Serziches exclaimed, now wondering he wasn't able to the job. Heaven spoke with a bit of fear. The replica wielder is Issei himself. The room was dead silent. The Formos were in shock. Which means he knew all along. The devils were now scared of Issei. One of the Formas asked. Any new information? Well, Issei has a family. They have a baby. Kevin responded. Serziches spoke. We have something now. We must take Mia and the baby as hostage. We must do it fast. They all nodded, but they didn't know they were spied on by other entities. Then the entities started to spread the information to the people, angels, devils and fallen angels. Once they had the information, everyone had turned to the leaders of factions. It split it into two groups, loyals or rebels. When the leaders learned that the people turned to them, they started quickly gathered the army. The army also got splitted into two groups. The very next few days, when the leaders from other mythologies heard the news, they were furious at the biblical faction's leaders, especially the dragon faction was angered at them. The biblical faction's leaders betrayed the Red Dragon Emperor for being weak. After an hour, there was angels versus angels, devils versus devils, and fallen versus fallen, or even mixed. Michael was in heaven fighting off angels. Gabriel was saddened that heaven, once a peaceful place and harmony, turned to hostile and hatred ruled heaven. Michael spoke while fighting off the angels. Let's go to the underworld to get better chance of winning. The ones loyal Michael agreed with him, but Gabriel disagreed, knowing that she wronged Issei, felt her wings turning black, and she was heartbroken. Michael spoke to Gabriel. Let's go. Gabriel simply shook her head sideways with tears in her eyes. Michael scoffed and created a magic circle the ones who were with him and teleported to the underworld. Gabriel now has to fight her own brother. Azazel also went to the leaders of the devils to a stronghold. Also Michael was there with his army. The three factions leaders gathered together. Serziches spoke. Never believed this day will come. Fighting my own people again. Even other mythologies came here to fight us, especially the dragons. True, we are outnumbered by troops and strength. I say rather retreat. Azazel spoke. Nonsense. They will think that the four great devils are running away with their tails between their legs. I say rather fight to the death and give chance for my sister to live. Serziches exclaimed. The other devils nodded at Serziches' statement due to their pride. Michael agreed with Serziches. Azazel also agreed since he was outnumbered. Then groups of young devils entered the room and their families. It was Riaz and Sona with their peerage. The Phoenix clan was there except the Bale clan. Serziches approached Riaz and spoke. You leave, this is dangerous. No brother, I want to see Issei's face when he is desperate for his family, it would be sight to see. Riaz spoke with a grin. Serziches wanted to send her sister away, but she insisted to stay to help. It was same with Sona with Seraphol. In the human world, Issei was at school unknowingly what was going on in the supernatural world. He knew that he'll avenge his betrayal. He noticed that all devils were gone from the school, even Riaz. He thought that something is going on. He felt something is going to happen. Meanwhile, Mia was at home taking care of her newborn. Mia spoke to Emi while holding her. Daddy will be home soon. You are the most adorable thing in the world. Then a barrier surrounded the house. Mia immediately saw the danger and created her own barrier, especially her newborn. She saw the devils were coming out for her. It was Serziches and Grafia and other high-class devils. Serziches spoke. Mia, wife former Red Dragon Emperor. You must come with us or we'll do it with force. Mia immediately shot a sphere Serziches, but Serziches destroyed the sphere with ease. Then he shot a beam at Mia which destroyed her barrier. Mia quickly put more force barrier on her newborn. Mia was on the ground holding her baby. Then she was teleported to the underworld into the stronghold. Then Mia looks up and saw Riaz in front her with an evil smile. Riaz spoke. I'm to enjoy playing with you. Issei finished his school day heading back home with excitement but felt chills on his spine. Issei took out his phone and called his wife but no answer. Issei started to worry because Mia always answers his calls. Issei called again and again but no answer. He started to run back home. He entered his home and Mia wasn't there. Issei started panic for Mia because she was gone without telling him, like she disappeared out of nowhere. Issei was his hands on his face crying, thinking she left him with his daughter. Then Issei heard a familiar voice in his head. "Why are you crying?" Like a powerful voice. It was Great Red talking to him. "Mia is gone," Issei exclaimed to the dragon. Great Red spoke. "Mia left because the devils took her to the underworld. Stop crying. Pick up your courage and fight. Take them out. Bring destruction. Show them the power of your strength." Issei was motivated with anger and hatred. They are going to pay with their very own lives. Issei spawned his gear and started to create a magic circle, then the circle started to activate. Issei spoke. "Rias, you'll pay for what you done to me." In the distance it be seen a large battlefield across in the underworld. The rebels was overwhelming the opposing force. Xerxes was on top of hill with his allies, among them was Michael, Azazel, and other mass. His family Rias and her peerage. Xerxes spoke. "There chaos everywhere. The rebels are winning, but I would not go down easy." Azazel spoke. "Hey, what's that?" They looked at the far distance. A streak of white light was heading towards them. Michael exclaimed. "Is the White Dragon Emperor and Chaos Brigade." They immediately got in defensive positions. Then they made barrier. They heard echo voice. "Divide. Divide. Divide." Their barrier was weakened, then Volley came in crashing into Kevin and taking him to the air. Kevin took his wings and spoke. "Volley." Volley smiled at Kevin and spoke. "Our final battle is here and now. I heard the news, so why not join in? Our battle will be in history." Kevin charged at Volley and Volley started using his power divine dividing. Kevin was powering up each time. Then they clashed together, making a loud boom. After the shockwave, Kevin was falling to the ground as Volley on top. Kevin hit the ground, making a crater. Volley spoke. "This is for my friend Issei." Kevin punched Volley, causing his helmet to crack. Volley back off and Kevin gets up and charged at Volley. Kevin tackled Volley, flying to a hill. Volley was on the hill and Kevin spoke. "You think I'm weak? You're wrong. I'm going to kill you." Volley gear spoke. "Dived. Divide. Divide." Kevin has gotten weaker and Volley charged at Kevin, sending him a round kick on his head, making Kevin to fall unconscious. Volley spoke to the group. "This is not over yet." Volley charged at the group, mainly at Xerxes. Xerxes got himself ready for another blow. Volley punched Xerxes at lightning speed. Xerxes was sent flying to a battlefield. Volley chased down Xerxes. Then in the sky large magic circles appearing. It was Gabriel and other mythologies coming to the battlefield. Which most stand out? It was dragons. The loyalists were now in fear. Dragons coming to fight, they have no chance of winning. Gabriel was now a fallen, leading the angels to the battlefield. Rias never believed in her eyes that an archangel has fallen. Among the angels there was Irina. She was saddened. Irina felt anguished for betraying Issei, her childhood friend. And everyone surprised, her wings were turning from white to black. Her halo ring shattered. Rias couldn't believe that Irina was now going to fight her friends. Then the rebels charged from sky to the loyalist. Irina charged at the peerage. Zenobia decided to fight Irina. Zenobia exclaimed her friend. "Please don't do this. Remember we done together." "Why? You betrayed Issei." "I did the same. I feel terrible. I want to apologize to him," Irina exclaimed. Both friends clashed their weapons, trying to overpower the other. Rias saw that all friendship is gone. Rias could only see chaos everywhere. Then she smiled evilly, knowing what she have in her hands. Then after minutes passed, a magic circle formed above the sky. Then the figure started falling to the ground. The figure crashed to the ground, making a large crater. The figure stood up as smoke was clearing out. Rias and the rest were in shock that he actually came. It was Issei himself. Issei looks up at the group with bloodlust. Rias spoke. "Issei, you finally came. How come you pretended to know nothing but knew all along?" Issei spoke with anger. "Where is my wife and daughter?" "Oh, your family is here." Rias spoke with an evil grin. Then Mia and her daughter came out of the group. Issei was in shock in state of his wife. Mia was brutally beaten and cuts all of her body. Then Rias grabbed Mia's hair and began to pull her hair. Rias spoke. "Issei, you left me. Now I'm going to hurt you, daughter, but your wife won't let do it because she is putting power to your daughter." Then Rias grabbed a spear to stab Issei's daughter, but Mia was putting full force magic on her daughter not to be harmed. Then Mia was punched by Rias. Issei was boiling with anger. Issei spoke. "Let her go." "Okay." Rias spoke with an evil grin. Mia started to running towards Issei, then a dark spear pierced her stomach. She kept running until she landed Issei's arms. Issei saw how she in death door. Issei started to tear up. Mia spoke. "I'm happy to have our daughter." Then Mia slowly closed her eyes while holding her daughter. Issei was holding his wife. Then his nightmare became reality. Then Rhea spoke. You think I'll let her live? Now you are in desperation, which I like it. Then Kevin woke up from the hit and approached the scene in front of him. Greg spoke. Kevin. You are going to die this day. Kevin was in bit fear because his gear wanting him dead. Then he spoke. Issei. This day who will be the Red Dragon Emperor? Issei slowly puts down his wife on the ground. Issei started to boost himself several times. Issei spoke. Everyone will die. Then Kevin and Issei charged at each other. They started to punch each other. Drake started to hold Kevin back. Kevin was trying to force Issei to the ground. Issei was relentless, he won't stop until he win. In the middle of the fight Drake spoke. Issei. Kill him. Then the two began to wrestle by strength. Kevin started to break Issei gear. As Issei took hold of Kevin's gear. At the last second Issei used his whole strength and rip out Kevin's gear. Kevin kicked Issei and sent him flying. Issei in the ground laying next to his wife. Tears flowed down from his eyes. Then he heard Drake's voice. You did it, partner. Now go avenge for your wife. Issei noticed that the boosted gear was now in him. Issei gets up and looks at the group. The group was in shock that Issei has the boosted gear. Then a large red light came out of Issei. Issei transformed into his balance breaker at full glory. Issei spoke. You'll pay. Kevin was standing in shock. Issei charged at Kevin and started berate with punches. Every punch it was doubling in power. Kevin was trying to fight back, but he was getting destroyed. Issei threw Kevin in the air and he used his wings to catch him. Issei threw Kevin to the ground, then Issei created a red sphere and blasted at Kevin. Then he flew down into Kevin. Kevin was laying on the ground helplessly. Issei grabbed Kevin by the neck. Kevin spoke. You will never win. I already won. Issei spoke with a cold tone. Issei used one of his hand and created a red sphere imbued by power and blasted Kevin in his stomach. Ah! Kevin yelled in agony until he vaporized. Riaz and the rest were in shock that Kevin was killed by the former Red Dragon Emperor. Issei turned to them wanting to spill blood. He charged at them, but Surziches came in front of him. He didn't care anymore but Death who betrayed him. Bali was out of battlefield, but he was able to weaken Surziches by large amount. He was on the ground unconscious. Issei punched Surziches with power sending him flying back. Then Surziches get to his feet and charged back at Issei in order to protect his sister. Issei moved out of the way. Now is coming to hand. Surziches spoke. Riaz, get out of here. But Riaz didn't pay attention. Then Michael joined the fight. Issei saw they coming at him. Issei started to plan out to kill them at the same time. Michael jumped on Issei with his light sword. Issei moved out of the way. The sword missed but stabbed Surziches in the stomach. Surziches yelled in pain. Ah! Michael tried to help Surziches, but a punch went to his face. Issei was now standing above them. As Azazel could only see a bloodbath. Azazel spoke. I'm out. I'm not dealing this. Azazel immediately teleported away, not wanting to face the wrath of Issei. He will exiled himself from the supernatural. Issei made a red energy sword and stabbed both of them. Riaz is now shocked that her brother is in brink of death. Surziches and Michael are now dead. Riaz spoke. No. Riaz was filled with anger and ordered a peerage. Kill him. Tiba, Akeno, Rossius, and Gasper charged at Issei. Issei placed one sword in hand when they got close. He swung his sword causing them to be sliced. They were immediately killed. Riaz was now paranoid. No. No. They aren't dead. Riaz looks at Zenobia and was in shock that Zenobia was killed by Arena. Riaz looked at Issei with fear and spoke. Issei, let's talk about it. Issei was covered in blood and started to approach her. He spoke. Today you'll pay with your own blood. You'll wish to never incarnate me. Riaz was in death sentence and she started to fly away. She flew to a large mountain. She saw the whole entire underworld in chaos. Then suddenly she somebody behind her. Before she could react she felt a sharp object pierce her from behind. Issei was behind, stabbed her from her back. Riaz felt blood leaving out of her mouth. She looks down and saw a sword through her body. Issei spoke. This is for Mia. Issei withdrew his sword and Riaz could only stumble, then fell to the ground. Riaz spoke to herself. I curse the day I met Issei. Riaz took her final breath and died. Issei saw her dead and let out a roar. Issei never wanted this to happen the day he was betrayed. Issei went back to his wife's body. He held her with tears. Luckily that his daughter is alive and well. Issei spoke. Please Mia, come back. But no response. Then he held his daughter in his arms with tears. After hours passed everything was silent. Blood, destruction and chaos was ruled the underworld. Issei hopes after this there would be peace for his daughter. The day was peaceful, the sun shining over the town of Kuo. A young man with brown hair was walking on the sidewalk. He had a smile on his face. It was Issei Hudu, a young adult who had a happy expression. It ends 6 years after the Great Battle. Currently the three biblical factions were repairing their homes. Milikas was spared, son of Serziches, with his mother Graphia. As for Azazel, he disappeared from the world, no one knows his whereabouts. In heaven, Gabriel and Irina was able to become an angel once again. They asked forgiveness to Issei, which he accepted it. No one would ever try to betray him, so they decided to leave him alone. As for Vali, he was glad that Issei was able to become the Red Dragon Emperor. There was peace among them for now. Sona took in charge of Kuo, and her peerage never bothered Issei again. Sona was upset that her friend was killed for betraying Issei. There is nothing she can do since it's in the past. Issei was standing in front of a school building, then a bell rung. Several kids were coming out of school. He waiting for someone to meet him. Then a little girl with black hair with golden eyes was running towards him. She spoke. "Daddy." It was Issei's daughter Emi, who was 6 years old. Issei opened his arms and hugged his daughter. He asked with a smile, "How was school, Emi?" "It was fun, Daddy. I was able to win a few games." Emi responded with happy tone. Issei let go of his daughter and holds her little hand, walking back home. He appreciate the time he spent with his daughter. He decided to buy a dessert for her. He bought her an ice cream as he bought one for himself. They were sitting near the park. Issei remembered where everything began. Emi asked, "How mommy and you met?" Issei smiled at his daughter as she was eating her ice cream. "While I was alone, I told my parents that I'm going out Kuido. So I went. After a day I was walking in the woods at night. Someone ran up to me. She was beautiful and I saved her from stray devils. After a few days we being comfortable with each other. After like a month I fell in love with her. Then in my apartment she was sitting on the couch. I asked her if she wanted to marry me. She happily says yes the day after we got married. Since then we've been together." Emi has some type of understanding what her dad spoke. Emi was happy to be part of the family. Emi let out her fox ears. Issei patted his daughter's head. After a few minutes Issei spoke after finishing their ice cream. "Let go home, Emi." Emi smiled and held her dad's hand. They were walking home together in the sunset. Issei heard Drake's voice. "Partner. It seems everything is going to be okay. Though some may hold grudges against you." Emi heard Drake's voice and spoke. "Hey Biscuit. It's been a while." Drake could only groan that Issei's daughter was calling him a biscuit. Issei was containing himself from laughing. Drag noticed the expression of Issei and spoke. "Hey. Don't laugh. You'll regret in your dream." "Sorry Drake. It's funny to be honest." Issei spoke with a giggle. Drake groaned again and spoke with a pleading tone. "Please Issei, tell Emi to stop calling me Biscuit." Emi spoke. "Bad dragon. Biscuit. You said that you'll let me call you how I want." Drake felt like he was looking down and speaking. "Partner, tell her to stop. I'm going to cry if this continues." Drake started to cry for his pride. That fox girl was putting him in place. Issei could only groan about Drake. Issei spoke. "Drake, stop being a crybaby. Where is your pride as a dragon?" Drake could only cry as a response, then Issei cut the connection with Drake. "Daddy. What do you think are we going to eat?" Emi asked. "Well, we'll find out soon when we get home." Issei responded with a smile. Emi asked once again. "How long until we meet Grandpa and Grandma?" "Well, in your break from school. They would be happy to see you again." Issei responded. After minutes of walking they were in front of their house. Issei had a smile on his face. Emi entered the house quickly. Then Issei followed behind her. Issei spoke. "I'm home." "Welcome home, sweetie." A female voice called from the kitchen. Issei was putting away his shoes and heard the voice asking. "Why you guys took so long?" Issei responded as he walked to the kitchen. "Well, I bought Emi some ice cream. We sat together in the park. I told her some stories." "Oh. I see, spending time with her is quite unusual. Today we'll having some sushi." The voice spoke. Issei entered the kitchen area and saw Mia in her real form. Mia was pregnant with another child of Issei being couple months old. Mia spoke smiling. "I missed you, Issei." "Yes, same here, Mia. I'm glad you are here with me. It was thanks to Great Red that gave you another chance. Though you are part dragon." Issei spoke. Mia has her ears and 8 tails wagging, happy to hear her husband's words. Mia spoke. "Doesn't matter as long I'm with you." Mia hugged Issei as her large stomach was pressing on him. Issei spoke. "Yeah, I hope that our family will be at peace." Mia smiled and called her daughter. "Emi, time for dinner." "Humming, mommy." Emi spoke as she was heading to the table. The family was sitting on dining table eating happily. Issei was glad that Mia is still with him and he will never let her go ever again. Happy ending. Finally our boy, Issei, can have a happy life. That's it guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. With that, take care.